Chapter 1. No matter where, the air is better than on Blue Star. The boy stood at the edge of the forest. He lowered his head and looked at the little guy beside him. How do you feel about the new world, Peng Peng? Where's Bo, whose full name is a legendary Pokemon from the Pokemon game Vermilion. She has a green body dotted with white flowers and yellow circular patterns, her legs are black on the outside and white on the inside, and there are 2 green leaves between her toes. From the appearance, Eruption seems to be wearing a green cloak with huge black thorny vines growing on the upper side of the cloak, and the 2 top thorns are similar to horns. Hearing Bai Luo's question, the 2 starry eyes on that tangerine-colored face narrowed into slits with joy. Bo ni hum. New world, Bo ni likes it, as long as you like it. Bai Luo looked at the little fellow who was jumping and shouting happily, and couldn't help but smile. He patted Eruption's head and opened her attribute panel. Evil Spirit Contractor, Bai Luo Race, Ghost Existence Value, Magic 6500 Magic, Grass-type Pokemon Magic, Grass-type Moves, Inherent Abilities, Element Absorption, Ability Enhancement Unique Skills, Destroyer, has the power to destroy any material, Grower, can continue to grow by defeating opponents, destroyers and growers. What appeared in front of Bai Luo was not the attribute panel of the Pokemon, but a status bar unique to this world. A month ago, Bai Luo awakened the memory of his past life. In this life, he is a farm boy from a village on the edge of the Kingdom of Farmus. The Kingdom of Farmus is located in the northwest of the Jura Forest. It has 30 million citizens, plus 10 million members of the Free Guild, a total of 40 million people, making it one of the largest countries in the West. However, life of ordinary civilians in this country is not good. Farmus is a feudal country ruled by aristocrats. Commoners can only ensure that they will not starve to death. The meaning of their existence is to be exploited and sucked blood by those high-ranking rulers. I have been reincarnated into another world. From the initial confusion to the excitement under the voice of the world. In just a dozen minutes, Bai Luo knew what kind of world he had traveled to. Falmus Kingdom, Jura Great Forest, isn't this the name of a place in that time I got reincarnated as a slime? The boy looked exactly like Bai Luo in his previous life, only younger, about 15 or 16 years old. As for the reason of crossing, Bai Luo's last memory was of a dump truck flashing white light. So, am I transmigrating, or have I been reincarnated into another world, and am I only now awakening my memories of my past life? If it was the former, Bai Luo did not perceive the other soul. The memories of his predecessor from childhood to adulthood seemed like Bai Luo's personal experiences, and there was no sense of incongruity at all. No matter which one it is, I've earned it by being able to live again. Bai Luo began to accept his new identity with the mentality of making the best of it. Soon, Bai Luo discovered that his identity in this world was very subtle. Although he is a half-blood demon, he did not inherit much of the demon's power from his previous incarnation. Instead, he was discriminated against by normal humans and was very unwelcome in the village. Fortunately, Bai Luo is not left with nothing. As a time traveler, it is a pity that he was unable to awaken the system, but Bai Luo still has a unique golden finger. Time goes back to the present. Bai Luo closes the attribute bar of Ergilong. Open the panel. Then, Bai Luo's mind moved slightly, and a new panel appeared in his mind. Bai Luo Race, Half-Blood Demon, a hybrid of human and demon, Existence Value, 3500 Magic, Energy Block Production, Elf Space, Identification Intrinsic Ability, Adaptability, your body's ability to adapt to any system, Unique Abilities, Traveler Exception, you can open the door to the unknown world and travel through it. Leader, by conquering followers, you can increase your own existence value. Captor, sign a contract with other creatures and transform them into followers. Dependent, they. Evil One Tagged World, Pokemon World. In the world of that got reincarnated slime, there is a strange power called the Voice of the World. When individuals change, gain skills and evolve their skills, they can receive feedback from the Voice of the World. In short, the Voice of the World can be understood as the rules and systems of this world. Whenever you acquire new skills and produce new changes, as long as their influence can pluck the cords of the world and leave traces on it, you will receive gifts from the world. Bai Luo has 3 unique abilities: Traveler, Leader, and Captor. The first Traveler, perhaps because of his identity as a time traveler, Bai Luo, was given the suffix exceptional. Unique skill, Traveler. It has the ability to allow individuals to leave the base axis world and travel between planes and planets in the world view of reincarnated slimes. Traveler. Exception Bai Luo's unique skill goes a step further than the traveler, allowing him to break the worldview and travel to another world. The worldview of that time I got reincarnated as a slime is not small, and it can be mainly divided into 3 parts. A material world without magic. The spiritual world of pure magic. A chaotic world with both matter and energy. While checking his own attributes, Bai Luo explained the common sense of the new world to Yan. The chaotic world has high concentration, medium concentration, and low concentration according to the abundance of magic elements. For example, the blue planet where the protagonist Rimuru of the original novel was before his reincarnation was a material world without demons. The world where Bai Luo lives now, where the Demon King and the voice of the world exist, is the top one in the chaotic world. It is also known as the axial world, and is the cornerstone and hub of the 3 major world systems of matter, spirit, and chaos. Furthermore, because the axis world has been bathed in high concentrations of magic, its nature has undergone tremendous changes. Where's Bo? Yan bent down, and used her little hands to fiddle with the dirt and stones on the ground. Then she tilted her head and said, Yan feels that the things here are no different from the original world. That's because you've become stronger too. Bai Luo said, every blade of grass and every tree, even a grain of sand, here has a solidity that cannot be compared with other worlds. To make a simple analogy, although the humans in the Axis world and the humans on Blue Star have the same appearance and physiology, there is a dimensional gap in their physical fitness. On Blue Planet, it can destroy an area with a radius of several kilometers, but in the Axis world, it may be a large pit of about 100 meters. This is also the reason why Bai Luo dares to travel around the world without fear of sudden death. Although he is just an ordinary human boy of E level in the Axis world, it can be placed in the Pokemon world that you just traveled to. He is definitely a super real rookie among super real rookies. I see. Yan suddenly realized what was going on. She stood up and looked at Bai Luo with admiration. That's why Bai Luo is so powerful. He helped me defeat those bad guys in no time. What Yan was talking about was Bai Luo's first trip. P.S. Please collect my new book and give me flowers. I beg all the readers to help. Chapter 2. There are 2 main types of travelers' journeys through the world. One is to go to the worlds they have been to, and the other is to open up a channel to a new world. The Pokemon world, this is the first world Bai Luo has traveled through, and the only one so far. Bai Luo made full preparations for this journey. He spent half a month arming himself as best as possible before he mustered up the courage to open the door to a new world. During the first time traveling, Bai Luo landed in the Sinnoh region. At that time, he was penniless and could only take out the ore from the Axis world that he had prepared in advance and exchange it with the residents of the local town. Fortunately, the first place Bai Luo traveled through was the Pokemon world. As we all know, most people in the Pokemon world are hospitable, simple, and honest. This made Bai Luo's process of obtaining travel expenses quite smooth. With money, Bai Luo began to plan his itinerary. The duration of the door to the other world opened by the traveler's ability is not fixed. For example, the Pokemon world can only last for a short 7 days. Afterwards, they will be forcibly sent back to the Axis world. Then wait for 7 days to cool down before turning it on again. During the 7 days, the easiest and most cost-effective beast Bai Luo could think of was the Aegean. Luo has strong combat capabilities in the game and its various mechanisms are very powerful. Besides, she has a gentle personality. Although a little naughty, he is kind by nature, afraid of loneliness and longs to be close to others. The distance is short and the difficulty is low. I still need to cultivate other elves, and I may not be able to encounter them. Only if you know where the evil spirit is, you can go there and start the strategy. Having made up his mind, Bai Luo immediately bought a ticket to Baishang Township. Bai Luo's luck is really good. I still remember that day when Bai Luo climbed up the ghost mountain and saw the pitiful figure holding the emerald green mask, helpless and alone in the deserted cave. No matter what Bai Luo originally thought. At that moment, Bai Luo sincerely wanted to give her a warm home. Hello, Yurukshan. So, after some contact and communication, Bai Luo successfully gained the favor of Yan and helped her regain the lost mask. Would you like to go with me to see the outside world? What are the unruly people of Baishang Township, and what are the 3 beasts accompanying them? Bai Luo used this super base man's body to tell them what it means to be strong and powerful. Yes, no Pokemon needed at all. With just one man and a pair of fists, Bai Luo single-handedly swept through the entire Baishang Township. Of course, Bai Luo didn't really hurt anyone. The most he did was to destroy the ancestral hall where the mask was enshrined, and in the process, he gave Tao Dailang a skull crack with a powerful blow. All in all, Bai Luo's journey to the Pokemon world was very successful. Taking Peng Peng away, he also obtained energy block production and elf space, two abilities defined as magic by the Axis world. As the name suggests, energy cube making allows Bai Luo to transform fruits into energy cubes of various tastes. After the transformation of the world, energy cubes are not only suitable for the evil spirits, but can also be eaten by ordinary people. Its properties are more like the compressed biscuits in Bai Luo's previous life, condensing a large amount of nutrition into a small cube. There is also the Pokemon space, which is the result of the analysis by the voice of the world after Bai Luo returned with the Pokeball. The Pokeball disappeared, and in its place was Bai Luo's own portable space for storing his followers. These are all the benefits that Bai Luo gets from the Pokemon world by using the traveler's abilities. It's time to leave. Bai Luo turned around and glanced at the village in the distance without much nostalgia in his eyes. This land belongs to the kingdom of Pharmas. After reading the original novel, Bai Luo knew how terrible this country was. The nobles imposed heavy taxes, lived a luxurious and licentious life, and did not care about the lives of ordinary people at all. In addition, the humans here are extremely disgusted with monsters, which naturally includes half-blood monsters like Bai Luo. Bai Luo's racial hybrid demon, that is, the offspring of a demon and a human. However, perhaps because the time was too long, the demon blood in Bai Luo's body was too thin. Before awakening his memories, he did not show any characteristics different from ordinary humans. But even so, Bai Luo's life in the village is still not good. Monsters are evil, and this idea is deeply rooted in Pharmas. Even half-monsters like Bai Luo are discriminated against by the people. This kind of life continued until a month ago. That day, Bai Luo suddenly awakened his past life memories and heard the voice of the world. Voice of the world gives Bai Luo travelers, leaders, and captors unique skills. In addition to exceptional travelers, the captor allows Bai Luo to subjugate followers through contracts. This unique skill is somewhat similar to the beast tamer profession, only more convenient and powerful than that. As for the leaders, there is a complementary relationship between it and its captor. Whenever Bai Luo gains a follower, the latter's existence value will, to a certain extent, feed back to Bai Luo, increasing his existence value. Similarly, as Bai Luo's existence value increases, his followers will also benefit. The so-called existence value is a special definition under the worldview of that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Existence value is a bit like combat power, but it is not completely linked to strength. Instead, it affects the total amount of magic energy of the individual and the status he possesses. Like Eruption, after she came to the Axis world, she was automatically given the unique skills of a destroyer and a grower by the voice of the world. Also obtained is the energy system collectively known as magic elements. If it was the original Yurukshan, even though she was a legendary Pokemon and mastered all kinds of Pokemon moves, but in the basic world, she could only get a D-level rating at best. However, because of the unique skills of Bai Luo captor, a master-slave relationship was established between Ergilong and Bai Luo. This enabled her to gain recognition from this world after she returned to the Axis world. Existence value. Ergian could also see her own attribute column. She pointed at a certain attribute and said, "Is it this thing called magic element?" "Yes." Bai Luo praised, "Yan Yan is very powerful, with 6,500 magic points which has reached the B-level standard in the basic Axis world." B-level? Ergian asked doubtfully, "What about Bai Luo?" "My words." Bai Luo looked at his 3,500 points of magic power and said, "Probably C-level. In this world, apart from common animals, all species that are harmful to humans are collectively referred to as monsters. Among them, the race with high intelligence is the demon clan, and the humanoid monsters with powerful strength are the demons. According to the danger level of these monsters, Free Combination has made a simple level classification for them, Special S, Natural Disaster Level. A single country cannot handle it, and humanity must unite with other countries to handle it. This level concerns the survival of humanity. S, Disaster Level. A level that can be handled by the military forces of a major country. Special A, Disaster Level possesses a danger level that can threaten the entire country. A, Disaster Level, the level at which the city will suffer serious damage. B, Black spiders, big ghosts, etc. A single individual can destroy an entire village. C, Lizardman, Pegasus, etc. are slightly stronger than professional soldiers who have received combat training. D. Pig-headed tribe, etc. Even if 3 to 4 ordinary adults fight against them, their lives may be in danger. E. Goblins, etc. are slightly weaker than normal adults and always appear in groups. F. No fighting power. According to the calculation of existence value and magic element amount, the current Ergian is probably similar to the B-level Big Ghost tribe, and has the powerful destructive power to kill hundreds of people in a village by itself. If combined with her unique skills as a destroyer and her ability to continue to grow stronger, Ergui's actual combat power and potential will be even higher. In short, in one sentence, Bai Luo patted Ergui's head and said happily, "My Ergui has the appearance of a demon king." Chapter 3. Bo Nium. Being praised by Bai Luo, Ergian happily jumped and danced around him, just like a cute little loli. Ergian's curiosity about the new world cannot be suppressed. There will naturally be no danger or anything like that. This place is at the edge of the forest and close to a human village. Bai Luo usually lives nearby and is very familiar with the place. What really bothered him was that the little guy totally ignored the dirt and grass clippings on the ground. In just a short while, Ergian had already made himself dirty. Bo Ni, Devil King, I want to be the Devil King." The little guy has no idea what a Demon King is. But since Bai Luo said that the Demon King is very powerful, he must be right. If you want to become a Demon King, you must first master your newfound power. Bai Luo felt that this place was far enough from the village. He found an open space and said, "Come on, use the skills you have mastered, and then get familiar with the changes in your body." Bo. Without any hesitation, Erotica immediately began her practice. Eruption has the potential to grow into a demon lord. But this does not mean that every Pokemon has the potential to become an Uruko. In order to gain recognition from the Axis world and be endowed with magic elements, one must first be transformed into a follower by Bai Luo. The upper limit of the number of followers Bai Luo can have is closely related to the strength of the unique skill of the captor. Today's Bai Luo can only contract with 3 followers at most. The scarcity of spots makes Bai Luo dare not catch Pokemon easily. It can be said that the poor little Igui from Baishang Township is the easiest mythical beast that Bai Luo can think of. According to Bai Luo's understanding, only level 2 gods, level 1 gods, and mythical Pokemon have the potential to grow into demon kings. Every contract quota is extremely valuable. It's not like Bai Luo hasn't thought about capturing more Pokemon. After all, even the weakest Pokemon can be cultivated into a good combat power if placed in the basic Axis world. Unfortunately, given Bai Luo's current situation, even if he has enough places for followers, he does not have the ability to protect the weak Pokemon and help them grow. I can only wait until later to go to the Pokemon world and capture Gardevoir. If you ask Bai Luo about his favorite Pokemon, Gardevoir will definitely be one of them. But the reality is cruel, Bai Luo can only give up his superpowered queen with tears. Bo Ni. Bai Luo was completely unaware that he was eating from his bowl, looking at the eruption in the pot, waving his thorny vine stick and performing various Pokemon moves. Well, now you can't call it a Pokemon move. After the conversion of magic elements and rules, all the Pokemon moves mastered by Urukshan have been transformed into general skills. Because the moves are no longer simply cast by the attribute energy in the elves' bodies, but are driven by magic power, they can also be regarded as a special kind of magic, Pokemon magic. I feel like I've become much stronger. Ergui looked at the tree she had broken with her stick. She compared Baishang Township with here and said, "My strength has increased several times, and my stamina has also improved a lot." Direct translation of the conversation between the two, it's not just as simple as a few times. Bai Luo stroked the little guy's head and explained, "The physical rules of the two worlds are different. The Pokemon world is a low magic chaotic world. The basic Axis world is even higher than the high concentration, and can be regarded as a super concentrated chaotic world. According to the simplest calculation, the individual's expressiveness will improve by 1 level with each increase in concentration level. Like Erotica now, she can smash a tree with 1 stick in the Axis world and get a D-level rating. The performance of breaking a giant tree with 1 strike is equivalent to D-level, which is common in most worlds. At high concentrations, this attack will rise from D-level to C-level. If this happened in the Pokemon world, when Uruko returns, facing creatures like Groudon and Rayquaza, he might only need to raise his hand to defeat them and make them unable to fight. I don't quite understand, but it seems to be very powerful. Ergian looked confused and impressed. She was not very smart, but since Bai Luo said that he had become stronger, then he must be right. For the only good friend I have met in hundreds of years, and now my family. Ergian has absolute trust in Bai Luo. Get used to your newfound power as quickly as possible. Bai Luo looked into the depths of the forest and said, it will take a long time to find a suitable location to build a new home. He has decided to leave the human village and go to the Jura Forest to develop. Possessing the abilities of a leader and a capturer, Bai Luo decided to follow Rimuru's path and turn this ownerless forest into his own territory. Peng Peng is extremely strong. Ergui Yan raised his thorn vine stick high and said happily, don't worry, leave the construction of the new home to Yan Yan. Wu, seeing Ergui's cute and confident look, Bai Luo didn't wait for her to react and just picked her up from behind. There are many powerful monsters in the forest. Peng Peng is not afraid. Bai Luo lifted Ergi Long high up. After the initial panic, the little guy now looked at the Jura Forest in front of him with curiosity. Bai Luo, protected by Peng Peng. Pokemon trainer, Pokemon, travel, battle, these things, Ergian had only seen on people who traveled to Baishang Township before. And now, Yo-Yo also has his own trainer and is about to embark on an adventure. Crash crash, with the protection of the evil spirit, Bai Luo does not have to worry about the threat of monsters. In this way, Bai Luo left the village where he had lived since childhood and entered the Jura Forest. Along the way, the two encountered many magical beasts that exuded a dangerous aura. Fortunately, they are not very strong. When they encounter B-level or KI, whose combat power is actually enough to fight against A-level monsters, they can hardly withstand a single move. All of these monsters turned into experience points, magic elements, for Ergirong and became food for her to become stronger. Boom boom boom. Suddenly, Bai Luo, who was groping forward in the forest, felt the ground shaking under his feet. Something big is coming. Where's Bo? Bai Luo didn't need to say much. Ergui Luo had already summoned the thornvine stick and blocked it in front of him. Roar! Soon, a dark figure nearly 4 meters tall, like a wall, appeared in front of the two. It was a giant black bear that exuded a cruel aura. Its arms and legs were covered with hard bristles, and there was a faint flow of black energy on its body surface. Its pair of blood-red eyes were staring at Ergui Luo and Bai Luo behind her. Obviously, this guy was coming for them. Most monsters in the forest have extremely strong senses of smell and hearing. However, Bai Luo and Ergilong, two obvious targets, could not escape the Warcraft's perception at all. Chapter 4. Do you think of us as food? Bai Luo has already recognized the identity of this black bear, sea-level monster, terror explosion bear. Are you confident that you can handle it? No problem. This is not the first time that Ergi Luo has fought against the monsters in this world. It's just at the sea level, not enough to scare Ergian. Good. Bai Luo quickly retreated to a safe location. He stared at the terror bear in front of him, with desire in his eyes. If you want to eat us, then you must be prepared to be treated as food. Go ahead. Bai Luo, it just so happens that we are eating bear paws today. Clear. Ergian holds a thorny vine stick in his hand, and his whole body is filled with green grass-attributed magic. The next moment, the little guy's figure disappeared from the spot. Swish! Oink oink! The evil spirit seemed to turn into a stream of green light, flying rapidly among the trees, causing the originally extremely ferocious terror bear to fall into confusion in an instant. The illusory after-images kept appearing, making the terror bear dazzled. Now! Bo! Suddenly, a 3 or 4 meter long thorny vine stick made entirely of energy fell from the sky and hit the top of the head of the terror bear. Bloody! Boom! The head was shattered, blood was splattered, and the huge body of the terror bear, which was as big as a house, also fell down. Bo! Ergilong jumped down from the air and landed steadily in front of Bai Luo, not forgetting to strike a handsome pose. Notice, individual named Evil Ghost defeated C-rank monster Terror Explosion Bear successfully obtained magic from the unique skill grower gained existence value, 3 EP in just a few days. Ergui's magic value increased from the original 6,500 to 7,000. I have to say that this unique skill of the grower is really a bug. As long as you continue to defeat or kill your opponents, you can gain magic. And magic element is the key to the evolution of monsters. Well done! Bai Luo praised, you have completely mastered the use of magic and the control of strength. Bo Ni Homergian transformed the thorn vine stick into grass attribute magic and dissipated it. She scratched her head awkwardly, feeling a little shy about Bai Luo's praise. The magic element has also increased by 500. If you hadn't encountered enough magical beasts, you could have become even stronger. Bai Luo thought of Rimuru in the original work, a predator who was even more perverted than the grown one of Rimuru. Of course, beings like Rimuru and Yurukshan, who can become stronger by devouring and defeating other monsters, are rare in the Axis world. So don't think that the evolution of monsters is easy. In fact, before Rimuru appeared, A-level demons were a legend among the demon clan that had not appeared for thousands of years. Although not many, it is not a small number either. If another 1,000 of them can be defeated, the eruption will be able to evolve into an A-level monster. Yanyan just got a little bit stronger. I feel like I've become a lot stronger during this period of time. Ergui Yan bounced back to Bai Luo, tilted his head, and asked curiously, is it because you obtained this thing called magic element, EP? That's right. Bai Luo touched Ergui's head in praise and explained, in this world, magic element is closely related to the strength of monsters. Normally speaking, the more magic elements a monster has, the stronger it will be. Of course, this does not hold true for humans. Humans use more of something called technology rather than skills like monsters. The terror bear we defeated just now was a C-rank monster. And is class B. Bai Luo told Ergi the information he knew. After B level, there is B and level, A level, and the higher A level. In the base Axis world, the general conversion between existence value and level is as follows. 0 to 1000, E level 1000 3000, D level 3000 6000, C level 6000 8000, B level 8000 9000, B plus 9000 10,000, A level then, 10,000 is a watershed. If you exceed 10,000 existence value, you can become an A-level monster and be evaluated as a disaster. 10,000 100,000, Grade A. The A level has a huge span and is completely on a different dimension from the monsters of the previous levels. Generally speaking, a monster rated A-level disaster that appears in the human world can destroy a city on its own. When it reaches the higher special A level, it becomes a disaster that is enough to destroy a country. By breaking the bottleneck of 100,000 existence value, you can obtain a special A-level evaluation. Of course, special A also has different levels. Among special A, some monsters that do not continue to move forward will be named disasters. The special A level that can break its own limitations and continue to evolve, the moment its existence value exceeds 200,000, will become what humans call the Demon King, or the Demon King species. Although the description of the Demon King in the original work is not that powerful, it can even be said that he has not even touched the threshold of the Demon King. But in this real world, humans do not simply divide such existences into Demon Kings and Demon King species. The Demon King, also known as the Demon King, is a super-large disaster that can threaten a country or even destroy it. If such a being were to emerge, millions of people would die and tens of millions of humans would be displaced. Not to mention in the axial world, even in modern society, it would be a disaster that would shock the world. Yan Yan is going to become the Demon King. Ergui Yan's determination to become the Demon King became stronger. The little girl's idea was simple, in that case, Yan Yan can better protect Bai Luo. Haha. Bai Luo felt warm in his heart, thinking that she was worthy of being his little cotton-padded jacket. Come and help me, Peng Peng, Bai Luo said, I'll make you something delicious. Oh. Bai Luo and Ergui Yan couldn't finish eating such a big explosive bear. But it doesn't matter. Bai Luo has an elf space where he can store the remaining bear meat without worrying about it rotting over time. The two had no shortage of food, as Bai Luo's space was filled with a large amount of supplies purchased from the Pokemon world. But Bai Luo had only heard of bear paws in his previous life. If you have the chance to taste it now, you definitely can't miss it. Suddenly, Bai Luo saw Ergui looking at the dead terror bear. What's wrong? He guessed the little guy's mind and asked, are you feeling uncomfortable? A little, but not much. Yurukyo shook his head. There are also normal animals in the Pokemon world. She won't kill a Pokemon because it's her own kind. But for ordinary animals, there is nothing to worry about. This is similar to the relationship between monsters and monsters in the Axis world. Monsters are intelligent, have their own language, can communicate, and have emotions. However, monsters like the terror bear are monsters that are completely controlled by emotions. They are not even the product of normal reproduction. Chapter 5. It seems that I have to explain to you the origin of these monsters. During this period, Bai Luo and Ergilong defeated many monsters, including some demons. But the two did not kill him. The amount of magic that a grower can obtain by killing or defeating him is the same. This makes the two prefer to defeat their opponents rather than kill them indiscriminately. First of all, this monster called the Terror Explosion Bear, don't underestimate it, it has flesh and blood and can be eaten by us. Bai Luo, in fact, its body is made entirely of magic elements. Completely made of magic elements. There are three great beings in this world, one the most fragile astral body that envelopes the soul. 2. The foundation for accumulating strength, the spiritual body. 3. A material body that is directly connected to the world. Seeing Ergui's expression of "I don't understand, but I'm shocked," Bai Luo couldn't help but laugh and said, okay, I know you don't understand this, Ergui. To put it simply, the magical beasts in this world, no matter how powerful they are the product of the fusion of spiritual bodies and magic elements. They don't have such a thing as a soul. Spiritual entities are everywhere, invisible and intangible, and you cannot destroy them using the rules of the physical world. When the terror bear died, the spirit that drove it to act dissipated. What was left was just a pile of meat containing magic elements. And people like you are called monsters. Monsters have souls, and there is no essential difference between them and humans. Yanyan is a monster. Ergian tilted his head and asked, what about Bai Luo? Is Bai Luo a human or a monster? If but judging from the appearance, Bai Luo would definitely be judged as a human. However, this is not the case. Bai Luo is a hybrid demon, the product of the union of a demon and a human. It should be distinguished here that a mixed-blood demon is not the same as a half-demon. Half-demon generally refers to humans who have been transformed into demons, also known as the human demon race. They are completely different from Bai Luo's mixed-blood demons. Half-demon, half-blood demon. Ergian scratched his head, still not quite understanding, but he roughly understood some of it. I'm not really sure about this. Bai Luo, as far as I know, half-blood demons should be very rare in this world. The Axis world is not strange stories from a Huaxia studio, nor is it the Huaxia legend world. There is no such thing as monsters and humans being able to produce offspring by combining with each other. Only humanoid monsters are called demons. When demons mate and leave offspring, a large portion of the parent's magic energy will be inherited by their offspring. This is the reproduction between demons and humans. If it were between demons and humans, it is no exaggeration to say that the demon on one of the parents is simply gone. For a monster, losing a large amount of magic essence is equivalent to losing most of its lifespan. Even the ceiling of this world, the Star Dragon King, the god of creation, is so helpless. The origin of the predecessor is indeed a bit strange. He is clearly a half-blood demon, but I don't know what kind of demon his non-human bloodline comes from. Fortunately, Bai Luo was not particularly looking forward to the power brought by the monster bloodline. Even if he doesn't awaken, it won't have much impact on Bai Luo. Having monster blood is good enough, why do you need a bicycle? In the Axis world, monsters are far more popular than humans and are easier to become stronger. This can be seen from the fact that the protagonist of the original novel is a monster. Because of his demon bloodline, Bai Luo also possesses the ability of monsters, which is to continuously evolve by increasing the amount of magic energy. The only regret is that Bai Luo doesn't have the same convenient abilities as Rimuru. If he wanted to increase his magic power, he could only train himself, accumulate it, and become stronger step by step. In addition to this, he relies on the evil spirit. Before traveling through the Pokemon world and obtaining the Uruk York, Bai Luo's existence value was only 300, barely enough for an E-level rating, almost the same as the goblins in the forest. As the existence value of Ergilong increased to 7,000, Bai Luo's existence value also underwent a drastic change. From 300 to the current 3,800, a full 3,500 point increase, equivalent to half of the increase in eruption. An existence value of 3,000-6,000 has reached the evaluation of a sea-level monster according to the standards of the base Axis world. As for the specific combat capability, unlike Pokemon like Uruk-O that are naturally good at fighting, Bai Luo has been a human for 2 lifetimes and has not received any professional combat training. The 3 unique skills do not involve any enhancement in combat. If a real fight breaks out, Bai Luo won't be able to unleash the combat power of a C-class monster at all, and can only rely on brute force to fight against a D-class pig-headed man. As mentioned before, existence value is related to the amount of magic elements. The more magic elements there are, the greater the magic power will be. The relationship between magic elements and magic power can generally be understood as the relationship between the blue bar upper limit and the blue bar, as well as the blue bar recovery speed. The original work has no magic power, it is still magic element, however, for easier understanding, the settings of magic element and magic power are separated here. To give a simple example, 1000 magic elements and 10,000 magic elements only seem to be a tenfold difference. But the former can restore 1% of magic power per second, while the latter can restore 5%. Converted into numbers, the former can waste 10 magic points per second, while the latter can waste 500. One increases and the other decreases, the difference in basic magic power alone is 50 times, not to mention the latter's extra magic, inherent abilities, unique skills, resistance, etc. Of course, the outcome of a battle is not only determined by numbers and abilities, but also by martial arts and practical experience, which will also affect the outcome of the battle. The best example is Bai Luo in the original work. Bai Luo's magic value is not high, about 100,000. But he can rely on his swordsmanship to fight against enemies whose magic value far exceeds his own. This is the bonus that practical experience and skills can bring. Crackle. After the firewood was lit, the flames greedily devoured the dry leaves, making crackling sounds. The skewered bear meat was placed on the grill, and the aroma of the meat quickly spread in the fresh air. As the meat slices were roasted in the flames, their color gradually turned from bright red to golden yellow. Oil dripped into the fire, stirring up bursts of smoke. Gurgle. Seeing Ergui swallowing greedily, Bai Luo picked up a string of bear meat and handed it to the little guy. Here, eat it. Thank you, ahem. Ergui took a big bite and squinted his eyes happily. It's delicious. Bai Luo also took down a bunch himself. I have to say that everything in this world, whether it is mushrooms in the forest or animal meat, is very delicious. Is this the change caused by the magic element? Bai Luo could only say that the things in the advanced world were indeed so extraordinary. While eating, Bai Luo was not idle either. He took the opportunity to think about his future path. Martial arts, magic, practical experience. I have absolutely no way of acquiring magic and martial arts. Actual combat experience is too dangerous. Sure enough, the profession of trainer is very suitable for me. Bai Luo has a clear positioning of himself, that is, a summoner, the type who just needs to stay behind the summoned beast and shout 666. Coincidentally, the leader of Bai Luo and the grower of Ergui Luo are the best partners. The eruption can grow, or increase its magic power, by defeating or killing monsters and enemies. Of course, this defeat is not without limits. First, each individual can only defeat the other once before the other has a major breakthrough. No experience points will be gained by defeating the same individual repeatedly. Moreover, this increase in magic power has an upper limit and is not infinite. After all, growth is just a unique skill. It can allow eruption to grow into a demon king, which is already amazing. If one wants to break through the special A level and reach the S level, which is the level of a true demon king, then one must take this unique skill of the grower to a higher level. As for how to go further, Bai Luo cast his gaze towards the cooling down state. I wonder if there is a way for me and Lulu to become stronger in the next world. Chapter 6. Time flies. A week has passed since the two entered the forest. And on another morning 7 days later, Bai Luo and Ergai Liang finally found a good place to build a new home. Deep in the woods, a clear stream gurgles, like a fine thread of nature, quietly outlining a quiet and pure land. The sunlight shines through the gaps in the leaves and falls into the stream, making the ripples sparkle like countless little golden diamonds jumping and shining on the water. On both sides of the stream, there is green grass, dotted with wild flowers, exuding a faint fragrance. Are we going to live here from now on? Ergian squatted down, gently fiddling with the flowers at her feet with her little hands, and was in a very good mood. What do you think? There are many fruits in the woods and fish in the water, Ergian said. Yunyan likes it here. As long as you like it. Bai Luo patted Ergui's head. It was not that he didn't want to stay in the village. His previous life in the village was not easy. After awakening his memory, Bai Luo would naturally no longer be looked down upon by others. So, after making good preparations, Bai Luo took action to teach those who had discriminated against and bullied him a lesson. Then, before attracting the attention of human adventurers, he entered the Pokémon world with the prepared supplies. In addition, unlike his predecessor, Bai Luo actually prefers the setting of a demon clan rather than a human identity. After all, in the Axis world, becoming a demon king is the mainstream. The demon blood in Bai Luo's body is just enough for him to start the demon evolution ritual and complete the awakening of the demon lord from low to high. And to achieve this goal, conquering humans is useless. In order for a monster to grow, in addition to the necessary potential, it must increase its existence value through merit and continue to evolve until it reaches the demon king species. Territory, subordinates, and battle records. All three are indispensable. Bai Luo has travelers who can gain power and partners by traveling through different worlds. The growth of Ergilong is even more straightforward. He just fights to survive. He keeps fighting and naturally becomes incredibly strong. The two are now in the western part of the Jura Forest. There aren't any powerful monster groups living nearby, but with the strength of the Bribing eruption, combined with various Pokemon moves, it's enough for them to gain a foothold here. Even if they encounter a monster above level B, they can abandon this place immediately. There is no shame in running away. Save your life first, there will be plenty of opportunities to come back and take revenge later. I'm going to the woods to pick some fruit. Having made up his mind, Bai Luo began to arrange the work for the two people. Peng Peng, can you help me cut down those trees in that circle? Are those the ones? Yes, from here to there, and this area on the left. Bai Luo pointed to Erguiyan and said, we are going to build a new home by the stream. If we cut down all these trees, we can make more land for planting crops in the future. The trees that are cut down can also be used to build houses, Bai Luo said. We will have more companions in the future, so we need to prepare houses for living in advance. New companion. Ergian likes a lively environment. Yan Yan wants to build a big house and let many friends live in it. But, Peng Peng doesn't know how to build a house. But soon, Ergiluo found that he had been living in a cave and had no idea how the house was built. Don't worry, leave the building to me. In his previous life, Bai Luo studied carpentry because of his interest and hobby, especially building simple wooden houses, which he remembered very clearly. Bai Luo is so awesome. When he heard that Bai Luo could build a house, Ergui's eyes widened with admiration almost overflowing. I have to say that Pokemon is really a cute creature that can heal people's hearts. Ergian is simply Bai Luo's sweet and caring little cotton-padded jacket. I'm going to pick fruit. Bai Luo's physical condition is good enough, and he is just picking fruits, so he won't encounter any danger. Even if a monster really appears, Ergian will rush to his side as soon as possible. Next, the two of them went their separate ways. Bai Luo first picked various fruits that he remembered were edible and tasted good, and washed them in the stream. By the way, we also caught 4 big fat fish as a snack for lunch. It's a pity that the meat of the explosive bear that we hunted earlier has been eaten, otherwise lunch would have been more filling. Bai Luo decided to save some of the supplies he brought back from the Pokemon world. He couldn't be sure that he would be able to collect enough resources in the worlds he traveled to later. If you encounter the end of the world, after a disaster, or in a more primitive world. At that time, Bai Luo would have to spend the traveler's opportunity to go to the Pokemon world to purchase goods, which would be too troublesome. So, save wherever you can. Since there is ready-made food in front of us, there is no need to consume the supplies in the warehouse. Bai Luo, is this enough? If it's not enough, I'll go cut more. In the open space beside the stream, the small body of Ergian was holding a log that 2 people could hug high above his head. Using Pokemon moves and the powerful strength that Eruption now possesses, which is comparable to that of B-rank. Those ancient trees that would take ordinary people several hours to cut down can be broken by Ergian with ease. That's enough. Bai Luo quickly stopped Igui, no need to be so fast, take your time, we have plenty of time. Looking at the energetic appearance of the little guy, Bai Luo inexplicably felt guilty for exploiting child labor. Bo! I saw that Ergian exerted force on his hands and the log flew out in an instant. Obviously, the little guy didn't listen to Bai Luo's instructions and just kept working hard, not knowing what slacking off was. Boom! In just half an hour, Ergian not only cut down the tree, but also completed the preliminary processing. All that was left were mountains of logs, neatly stacked on the grass. But even after doing so much work, Ergian not only did not feel tired, but instead enjoyed it. After living alone on Gishan Mountain in Baishang Township for these years, Ergui finally met Bai Luo who was willing to contact her. I am afraid of loneliness by nature, and have been alone for hundreds of years. Not to mention just chopping some trees, even if it was a harder job, Ergui Yan could complete it happily. As long as I can be with Bai Luo, Yan Yan will be happy to do anything. Chapter 7. You've worked hard, come and eat something. Bai Luo stopped Ergian, stroked the child's head, and took out various freshly washed fruits from the basket with a smile. Eruption is a grass-type Pokemon. In theory, it can replenish the energy needed for life through photosynthesis by drinking water. However, Pokemon need to grow up. It is not enough to just survive. A rich and nutritious diet is the cornerstone for Pokemon to become stronger. Bo-Nihum. The little girl happily picked up the fruit that Bai Luo handed to her. She opened her mouth and bit down with her two little canine teeth with a click. At any time, the sweet and sour juice fills your mouth. Tasty. Ergilong sat on a rock side by side with Bai Luo, her two short legs dangling in the air. Eating delicious fruits and having his family around him, Ergian felt very happy. There's not much time left today, so we can only make a simple tent and build our new home tomorrow. Bai Luo said as he wiped off the fruit stains on Ergui's body. Every move he made was like that of an older brother taking care of his innocent sister. The breeze blows and the shadows of the trees dance. The two of them lay under the shade of the tree, relieving the fatigue accumulated during the day. Let's get started. After lunch break, Bai Luo and Ergian started working again. Bo. Ergui jumped up and brought a log without waiting for Bai Luo to speak. Take this log and cut it into this shape. Bai Luo planned to build a fence to protect their future home. Oh, and we need to dig a deep enough ditch on all sides. Of course, these two things cannot be done by Ergilong alone, that would be too inhumane. Bai Luo doesn't want to be hung on a street lamp. Bai Luo will also participate in the task of digging ditches. There is no need to worry about the tools. When he was in the Pokemon world, Bai Luo purchased a lot of tools for construction and brought them back to the Axis world. The two cooperated with each other, and Bai Luo swung the hammer to hammer pieces of wood into the ground. Whenever Bai Luo ran out of materials, Ergui Luo would be the first to come over with a pile of processed wood. Little guy, you are full of energy. Rustle suddenly, a sound coming from the jungle made the two people who were working alert. What's that sound? Bai Luo looked serious, it seems like something is coming. The 7-day forest expedition gave Bai Luo a lot of experience in dealing with danger. He did not go forward to commit suicide, but took a few steps back with great sincerity. Bo. Ergian dropped the wood in his hand, stood in front of Bai Luo to protect him, and a thorny vine stick emitting green fluorescence condensed in his hand. Soon, a strange creature that looked like a combination of a centipede and a spider appeared in front of Bai Luo and Ergilong. What kind of monster is this? Bai Luo bought the World of Warcraft Atlas sold by the Freedom Guild in the village. However, he had no impression of the huge insect monster in front of him. Identification. Without hesitation, Bai Luo decisively used an identification skill on the insect monster. Multi-legged spider type, hybrid insect monster level, C, existence value 3800, inherent abilities, silk, poison introduction, a monster that appeared in the Jura Forest not long ago. It would poison its prey and then suck its flesh and blood with its mouth parts. Danger, low. Is this really a monster? Is there such a monster in the original book? As soon as Bai Luo had this thought, he immediately rejected it. The original work is just a novel, and this is the real world. There are so many species in the forest, it's impossible that there are only those described in books. Besides, if it's a monster, it should be possible to communicate, right? But looking at the spider monster, it doesn't look like it can communicate at all. It is even more beastly than any other beast Bai Luo encountered along the way. For a moment, Bai Luo could only retreat with Peng Peng and keep a certain safe distance from the opponent. That. Bai Luo still wanted to communicate with the insect monster in front of him. Can you calm down? We have no ill intentions. If this is your territory, we can leave. Whether it is Bai Luo or Ergui Yan, they are essentially principled people. If this area is already occupied, well, their actions of destroying the woods and building fences wantonly are indeed somewhat offensive. Squeak, squeak, squeak. However, the centipede spider monster seemed to not understand Bai Luo's words at all, and directly spewed a large amount of venom towards the two of them. Damn it! Bai Luo and Ergui Yan dodged quickly. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Turning my head, I saw that the trees and land covered with venom instantly turned black and smelly as if they had been corroded by sulfuric acid. There was no doubt that the other party was coming to kill them. Where's Bo? Ergui Yan waited for Bai Luo's command. The latter looked cold and said in a deep voice, be careful of its poison and silk. Use long-range moves as much as possible. Then, cripple it. Receive. The corners of Ergui's mouth are slightly raised, and his little canine teeth are cute yet a little fierce. Bo Enihum. I saw the little guy dancing with the thorny vine stick with great vigor. As she stepped on the ground, a large amount of light green energy instantly covered the area of dozens of meters around her, centered on her. This move is a magic transformed from a Pokemon move, a green grass field. And unlike the green grass field which originally benefited both sides, Eruption's magic was only effective against her and friendly forces recognized by her. Squeak, squeak, squeak. On the opposite side, the multi-legged spider was obviously frightened by Ergui's move. A large amount of magic power scattered in all directions, causing the multi-legged spider, which used tentacles rather than eyes to sense, to lose its awareness of the surrounding environment. Because of anxiety, the multi-legged spider could only spray silk threads forward instinctively. Unfortunately, Erguian was prepared and dodged the attack of the multi-legged spider with a quick move. Now! Bai Luo, use seed bomb. Bo. The evil spirit opened its mouth and sprayed out a large number of golden spots of light. These spots of light fell on the centipede spider, immediately causing a deafening explosion and making it emit a painful insect-like cry. Break all its legs without further hesitation. Bai Luo gave the order for close combat, use the thorn vine stick. Drink. Erguian had been waiting for a long time. He saw the little guy suddenly stomping on the ground, and the whole person seemed to turn into a flash of lightning, carrying a strange power like splitting mountains and rocks, and smashed all the insect legs of the multi-legged spider monster. P.S. The new book is just starting, please give me some flowers, please. Chapter 8. Squeak. Accompanied by a loud bang, the multi-legged spider wailed in pain. But without the support of its legs, its entire body fell to the ground with a bang. A large amount of dark green blood emitted a foul odor, which made Ergui Yan retreat repeatedly. Where's Bo? Ergui retreated to Bai Luo's side, his face full of disgust. This guy stinks. Ahem. Bai Luo also put on the mask of pain. He really doubted whether such a monster really possessed intelligence. The flesh and blood of the magical beasts encountered in the past were all edible. The spider monster in front of him looked nothing like a biological weapon. Biochemical weapons. Bai Luo once again used the identification skill on the spider monster. This time, Bai Luo used the inquiry function of the identification skill. The so-called inquiry is to identify the required target. For example, if you identify a sword, you will obtain the attributes of the sword. However, the specific data cannot be clearly obtained through simple identification. By asking, you can find out information about the sword, such as its thickness, length, weight, and material. Such directional identification depends on what you want to know. Targeted inquiry and identification is far less convenient than Rimuru's Great Sage, but some basic functions are actually not much different. Question: does this spider monster have intelligence? Report: no. Bai Luo's eyes widened, wondering if he had heard it wrongly. No, didn't you just say it was a monster? It doesn't even have intelligence, are you sure it's a monster? Notice, man-made monster, similar to constructed life. Bai Luo almost understood. Simply put, this thing is not a naturally born monster. It has a soul, but not a complete soul, but a fragment of a soul. Bai Luo is not sure about the details. He only knew one thing, that is, he should not regard this spider monster as an intelligent life. Tisk, feelings are just a brainless wild monster. Bai Luo frowned slightly, raised his hand and fanned his nose. Solve it, peng peng. Bo. Eruption did not ask why. As long as it is Bai Luo's request, Ergui will execute it without hesitation. Bloody. Then, the thorn vine stick was swung, and the green energy smashed down fiercely across dozens of meters. The enormous force landed on the spider monster's head, and along with half of its body, it exploded like a watermelon, as if it was dead beyond deadness. Individual name: Evil killed multi-legged spider and gained 5 existence points. The experience acquisition prompts provided by the eruption made Bai Luo aware of the existence value that the multi-legged spider could bring. 5 points of existence value, 2 points higher than the 3 points of the terror explosion bear. Bai Luo did not pay much attention to the magic element obtained from killing the spider monster. He was more concerned about the name of the artificial monster. I always feel like I've gotten into something bad. Bai Luo shook his head and waved away these unnecessary worries. As long as the power becomes strong enough, no conspiracy or trickery will be a problem. Yan Yan, who do you think is stronger, this spider monster or the explosive bear from before? Ergian thought for a moment and said, Yan Yan feels that spider bugs are very weak. Even though the eruption was fighting, the green grass field was used to confuse the spider bug's perception, and the seed bombs were used to remove the spider bug's defenses. These are just the fighting methods that Luo developed specially for the sake of caution. If you really want to make a comparison, the Uruko can kill the spider monster with one blow. Well, the same is true for the explosive bear. But I still think that Xiong is more powerful. This was Ergui's intuitive feeling. She couldn't explain why, but she just felt that the terror bear was more threatening. Intuition. Bai Luo believed that Ergui's feeling was correct. He looked down at the broken spider monster and said, after all, it is a man-made product and cannot compare to a real sea-level monster. Of course, this is also because Ergian has become stronger than before. When encountering the terror bear, the magic power of the eruption is about 7,000. And now, after 7 whole days, Ergui's magic power has increased from the initial 6,500 to 8,000. Along the way, Ergilong took action many times. Whenever you see a monster or beast that can provide experience points, whether it is useful or not, you will be beaten by the evil spirit. Bai Luo treated it as a Pokemon monster. If it is a monster, the eruption will try to minimize the damage and quickly put it into a baby-like sleep, thus obtaining the defeat condition. As for monsters, as long as they choose to surrender, the grower can obtain the corresponding magic elements. In addition, Bai Luo would leave food for the defeated. Bai Luo, who had just awakened his past life memories, was unable to plunder wantonly. He gained experience points and the other party got food. A total win-win. Xiao Xiao used so much magic power to fight the terror bear. It takes this much to kill bugs. Ergui used his 2 short hands to measure the length, but Bai Luo couldn't understand it anyway. In short, when it comes to killing bugs, the magic power consumed by the is much less. Since coming to the Axis world, Ergilong has found that the energy in his body has increased a lot. Not only has the quantity increased, but the recovery speed has also been greatly increased. Like in the past, after a battle, Ergilong had to take a breath no matter what. But now as for that kind of battle, Ergui said that she would not feel tired even if she fought dozens of rounds in a row. The higher the existence value, the more magic elements there are, and the amount of magic power and physical strength that can be accommodated is directly proportional to it. Coupled with her amazing recovery speed and Eruption's unique Pokemon moves, her strength is far more than what can be summarized as a simple B level. Bai Luo felt that even if Ergian faced an A level or even A+ level monster, it would still have a good chance of winning. Alright. Bai Luo didn't say anything more. Man-made monsters and the like are too far away from them. The top priority now is to bury the beaten spider to prevent it from polluting the fields. In Bai Luo's memory, most insect monsters have a certain connection with the Zerg in the spiritual world. In the following period of time, the two encountered 3 waves of invasions of insect monsters in succession while working. Bai Luo also didn't know what was going on in this place, or why there were so many insect monsters. But Ergian is not a pushover either. With a thorny vine stick in his hand, he is worthy of the name of Little Kaido in the Pokemon world. After adapting to Pokemon-type magic, Eruption fights more easily and often kills the enemy before they even make a move. Is there a nest of insect monsters nearby? Bai Luo watched as Eruption manipulated the tree roots to drag the remaining debris into the ground and bury it. He held a dagger in his hand, and on the ground to one side were piles of materials that Bai Luo had picked from 3 insect monsters. Bai Luo endured the stench coming from these things, and although he was disgusted, he still started to clean these materials. The main purpose was to avoid waste. Want to go check it out? While cleaning, Bai Luo thought to himself, no, it's just me and Peng Peng. Even if we find the insect nest, it will waste a lot of time. It's not worth it. Considering that the campsites had already been preliminarily built, Bai Luo finally decided to leave them alone. There are still a few hours left before the traveler cools down, and by tomorrow at the latest, Bai Luo will be able to cross again. The traveler's ability to travel through time has a cooldown period. The length of the cooling time is related to the time Bai Luo stays in the other world. Just like the last time, Bai Luo stayed in the Pokemon world for 7 days, so after returning to the Axis world, there was a 7-day cooldown. Of course, this refers to cooling down after returning to the base Axis world. If he is in another world, Bai Luo can return at any time to avoid encountering unhandled dangers in the new world. Just use it as a weirdo point. For some reason, Bai Luo thought it wasn't bad to have spiders visit his house occasionally. This way they don't have to go through the trouble of looking for monsters. Chapter 9. At the same time, in the forest dozens of kilometers away from the camp selected by Bai Luo, a small village with 300 people was located. The architecture here is Japanese style and is a pure wooden structure. The men passing by were mostly dressed as samurai, while the women wore kimono-like cloth. They were all tall and had horns on their foreheads. If Bai Luo were here, he would definitely recognize this village. It is the village of the great demon tribe that was destroyed by the pigmen led by footmen in the original work. The Great Oni clan is a demon clan close to the demons. Their average combat power is B level, and they have the powerful force to destroy human villages on their own. The population of Big Ghost Village is around 300, and its overall strength is such that it can easily defeat an attack by an A-level monster. In the eyes of human adventurers, it is a terrifying force that is capable of destroying an entire city. However, the big demons in the Jura Forest are not as fond of destruction and killing as they appear. On the contrary, although the Great Ghost Clan is aggressive in character, they value loyalty and never attack the weak or innocent people. They mostly work in the form of employment, receiving compensation from different monster tribes in the forest and humans from the outside world to maintain the development of the village. After hundreds of years of accumulation, the Great Ghost Clan has now become one of the three dominant forces in the Jura Forest. The population in the south is huge, with up to hundreds of thousands of pigmen. The population in the north exceeds 10,000, and the individual combat power exceeds that of sea-level lizardmen. There are also a tribe of large ghosts, numbering only 300, located in the west of the forest, which have B-level combat power once they reach adulthood. The three major forces restrained each other, forming a three-way balance of power, which allowed the Jura Forest to maintain superficial peace. Originally, this pattern had been going on for a long time. Human adventurers generally do not go deep into the Jura Forest, and the great demon tribes will not take the initiative to attack neighboring countries or forces. However, not long ago, a group of insect monsters came from nowhere and broke the peace of the western part of the forest. They wantonly slaughtered the beasts in the forest and continuously plundered the resources that the monsters depended on for survival. At first, the big ghosts didn't take it seriously. The Jura Forest is filled with the magic of storm dragons. No one can predict what kind of monsters will be born. However, not long ago, a member of the tribe was hunting in the forest and was attacked by hundreds of sea-level insect monsters, and his life was hanging by a thread. If the young master of the Great Ghost Clan had not led a rescue team, this group of people would have probably been wiped out. To the sparsely populated Great Ghost Clan, every member of the clan is extremely precious. But even so, two big ghosts still died under the attack of the insect monsters. The body of one of them was dragged away by the insect monster, and the other lost his life shortly after being brought back to the village. "We can't go on like this," the muscular red-haired demon said to the old red demon who was sitting in the leader's position. "Dad, gather the warriors in the village and defeat those disgusting bugs." This red-haired demon is none other than the great marshal of the demon kingdom, Benimaru, who would later follow Rimuru and be named by him in the original work. However, at this time, he, as well as Shin, Shina, Hakuro, Sui, and Kurobo, had not yet obtained their own names. In the Axis world, most monsters have no names. Once a monster has a name, it will become a named monster, and its potential and life level will be greatly improved. Unfortunately, there are no named monsters in the current Big Ghost Village. After all, ghosts have long become a legend among the Ghost Clan and have not been born for thousands of years. "What do you think, old man?" The leader looked at the white-haired old man who was thinking with his eyes closed. The entire Great Ghost Clan has great respect for this old man who has rich combat experience and superb swordsmanship. In fact, if the old man had not been obsessed with swordsmanship, he should have been the leader of the Big Ghost Clan. "I've never seen this kind of insect monster in the Jura Forest. They don't look like native monsters. Unlike the spider-type insect monsters that Bai Luo encountered, the types of insect monsters encountered by the Big Ghost tribe and other monster tribes in the forest are far more than just one. There are various types of weapons, such as mantis type, centipede type, beetle type, butterfly type, etc., which almost cover all battlefield needs and can be called biological weapons. But I doubt whether those bugs are really monsters. Based on classification, they are indeed monsters." The red demon leader also couldn't understand, but we tried to communicate with them and found that it didn't work at all. Warcraft cannot communicate, has low IQ, and is pure monster. Monsters, on the other hand, are intelligent beings with their own tribes, and most of them can coexist peacefully. No matter what, the young master's idea is not wrong. These insect monsters keep appearing, so they must have a base camp of some kind, such as a nest. Only by finding it and destroying it can we eliminate these dangerous insect monsters fundamentally. Bai Luo's proposal was approved by all the big ghosts present. So, the leader of the Red Devil tribe began to arrange manpower. He asked the future Benimaru to lead a team, including Shen, Sui, Shana, and others, as well as Bai Luo, to search for the insect monster's nest in the forest, and then launch an attack on it to eliminate this disaster that came from nowhere in one fell swoop. As night fell, Bai Luo had no idea where the successive waves of insect monsters came from, nor did he know that the big ghost tribe was organizing people to prepare to attack them. After a whole day's work, Bai Luo and Erguiyan finally completed their first wooden hut. The wooden house looks like a tent, is 1 person tall, and has a triangular structure, which is large enough to accommodate Bai Luo and Igui Peng and provide them with shelter from wind and rain. A bonfire was lit in front of the hut, and the 2 people had to take turns to keep watch to prevent night attacks by wild beasts and monsters. But this is temporary. When Bai Luo's time travel cools down, he will take Erguiyan to the new world. If they are lucky, they can not only find a place to rest, but also replenish supplies. In this way, Liang guarded the first half of the night, and Bai Luo guarded the second half. This arrangement is also to ensure that after the crossing, Long will have sufficient physical and mental strength to deal with possible troubles. The campfire crackled, and a faint flame flickered in the darkness. In the wooden hut, Bai Luo felt the tranquility of the forest at night. Erguiyan was resting his head on his thighs, his little body curled up into a ball, smacking his lips, as if he was dreaming about something delicious. Even in such a wilderness, Erguiyan seemed to be sleeping in the warmest bedding. As long as he stayed by Bai Luo's side like this, Erguiyan would feel extremely safe. What a foodie! My mouth is watering. After wiping the water stains off the little guy's fangs, Bai Luo stroked the hooded body of the evil creature. His hand brushed the pointed corner of the little girl's hat, which was part of her body, not just decoration. However, Eruption's body feels very soft to the touch. Even the ghost horns, which should have been sharp, became soft in Bai Luo's hands. In this way, Bai Luo took care of her as if she were his younger sister until the sky gradually brightened, and they did not encounter any insect monsters that attacked them again. At dawn, a hint of paleness appeared in the sky. In the haze, the mist in the forest floats like a veil, and the faint light shines through the sparse treetops, sprinkling on the wet ground in a mottled manner. Dewdrops can be seen faintly, flashing silver light on the green grass leaves. Where's Bo? Waking up from his sleep, Erguiyan rubbed his sleepy eyes, and then subconsciously began to look for Bai Luo. The moment he saw Bai Luo, the worry in Ergui's eyes immediately disappeared. Instead, there is full of joy and dependence. Bai Luo, shall we continue to build the house today? With yesterday's experience, Erguiyan has gained some experience in building houses. She wanted to challenge herself to a bigger wooden house and build a big house that could accommodate 2 people. Stop for a moment. Bai Luo patted the little guy's head, then took Erguiyan to wash up by the stream, ate a simple mushroom stew and a few energy cubes, and then announced today's plan. I plan to open the door to another world, so I'll go over there and check it out first. Bai Luo said, if the new world is too backward, we can use the one-day crossing to the Pokemon world. The technology in the Pokemon world is very advanced. Bai Luo could go there, introduce various equipment and resources, and then quickly build a simple camp. He had no plans to conquer other elves. Travelers cannot bring others across, unless the other person becomes a follower of Bai Luo. However, the number of places for dependence is currently limited, and Bai Luo does not intend to use the remaining 2 places on Pokemon. But if we encounter a dangerous world, we will return immediately. Well, Peng Peng will protect Bai Luo. Then I'll leave it to you, Yan Yan. Bai Luo stretched his body and looked at Ergui, who had regained his energy and was eager to try. Are you ready? Bo. Erguiyan made a bodybuilding gesture, indicating that he was full of energy. Very good, very energetic. After Bai Luo finished speaking, he activated the traveler ability which had cooled down and could be used again. Let's go. Then, with the flickering light, the figures of Bai Luo and Erguiyan disappeared from the camp, leaving only the extinguished fire filled with smoke in the humid air of the early morning. Chapter 10. When Bai Luo opened his eyes again, what came into view was an indescribable unique space. It was pitch black all around, with only a small area in front of me that was bright, emitting a deep light like the starry sky. Where's Bo? Ergian held Bai Luo's hand, his little face full of shock. The little guy has no idea where this is. Where is the different world you promised? How did you get to such a dark place? Don't worry, let me sort it out first. Bai Luo was just about to wonder where he was and what kind of world he had come to. The next moment, rays of light bloomed before Bai Luo's eyes. Bo! This scared Ergian, and she quickly condensed a thornvine stick and protected Bai Luo behind her. Even though Peng Peng is shy and afraid of loneliness, and looks small and unprepossessing. But at the critical moment, she really dared to go forward. Wait a minute. Bai Luo steadied his body and looked intently. In front of the two of them was a chair, a small round table, and some black tea and desserts on the table. At this moment, a blue-haired girl was sitting on the chair. Welcome to the afterlife. Although it is short, this gentleman's life has ended. This is a girl of 15 or 16 years old. She is very beautiful, so beautiful that it exceeds Bai Luo's cognition. How to say it? I don't know why, but the word goddess popped into Bai Luo's mind the first time he saw the girl. Yes, apart from a goddess, it is impossible for a woman with such beauty to exist in the world. The clear water blue long hair gives people a light and soft impression. The perfect body that is neither too plump nor too thin is covered with a loose-fitting lavender garment commonly known as a feather robe. Suddenly, the blue-haired girl who was reciting her lines seemed to realize something. She blinked her aqua-blue eyes, which were as clear as her hair color, and stared at Bai Luo and the little Ergian in front of him, who had an open mouth, revealing two small fangs, and a very cute expression. At this moment, the girl looked at the two men. Hey! What? Gradually, the expression of the beautiful girl with long aqua-blue hair began to change, and she seemed to not understand what was going on. Bai Luo and Erguiyan did not act rashly. Bai Luo in particular had an inexplicable sense of déjà vu about the scene before him for some reason, as if he had seen it somewhere. Blue hair, goddess-like beauty, and this outfit Hashi Bean Sack. Before Bai Luo could ask, a certain mentally retarded goddess exclaimed, No, who are you? Is there something wrong with the mechanism for attaining Buddhahood? And where did you come from? This is overtime. Overtime. Protest. Firmly protest overtime work. Aqua has obviously discovered the peculiarities of Bai Luo and Ergi Luo. As the goddess in charge of the destination of the souls of young Japanese people after death, no matter how stupid Aqua is, she can see that Bai Luo and Erkuro are still alive. This situation is more like reincarnation in another world. It's just that the reincarnation process was reversed, and people from another world suddenly appeared in this space. Ahem, calm down for a moment, Lady Aqua, the goddess of water. Hey! When Aqua heard Bai Luo calling her name, she was stunned at first, and then an extremely proud smile appeared on her face. Puff, puff, puff. The girl covered her mouth and said with a chuckle, I don't know where you are from, but I'm glad you've heard of my name, Aqua, the goddess of water. There's really nothing I can do. Okay, I'll just try to accept you guys. Aqua's reaction made Bai Luo, who had prepared various persuasion plans, look like a fool. Yes, Bai Luo called out the other person's name on purpose. As for the purpose, it is naturally to go to the Seeking world. The adventure mechanism and skill points there are very suitable for Bai Luo's situation, who only has magic power and attributes but no combat skills. But now, you want to go to another world and challenge the Demon King. Aqua sat back in her original seat. She calmly opened a bag of potato chips and started eating them in front of Bai Luo and Ergui. It is hard to imagine how such a beautiful and pure face could make such a disrespectful move. What's even worse is that, even though he clearly doesn't take her seriously, why do you still think she's pretty? Bai Luo didn't know how to complain. Fortunately, he knew in advance what kind of existence Aqua was. So, sorry. No matter how pretty Aqua is, Bai Luo doesn't want to have anything to do with her. After all, it is illegal to do that. Not to mention that with Aqua's personality, if she follows him around, who knows how much trouble she could cause. Ahem, yes. Bai Luo said, this kid and I are traveling around the world, and in the process, we are defeating strong opponents and improving our strength. Oh. Aqua didn't think much about it. Her empty brain couldn't hold too many things. Conspiracies and tricks are not as good as Bai Luo's Lady Aqua, the goddess of water. Anyone who has heard of your name must be your believer. Aqua is quite tolerant towards believers. Aqua, no one wants to go to that world anyway, so it's great that you want to help. That. Bai Luo said, great, wise, beautiful, and noble Lady Aqua, can you give us a little benefit? He. Aqua continued to indulge in Bai Luo's compliments. She said, you speak nicely. Say more. Originally this kind of thing is definitely not allowed. But who can blame us, the great goddess Aqua? Here. Accept it with gratitude. This is a blessing from the great upper goddess Aqua. The next moment, Aqua waved her hand, and pieces of parchment fell around Bai Luo like flowers scattered from the sky. Oh! Bai Luo, you are worthy of being Lady Aqua. With this sentence, Bai Luo is no longer complimenting, but speaking from the heart. You're a good person, Aqua, for giving out benefits right away. Although she is mentally retarded, she is really willing to spend money when treating others to a meal. In the original novel, Aqua was in debt many times because she spent money to treat the entire guild to dinner. Even for an outsider like Bai Luo, Aqua is still willing to break the rules and give him cheats. With this feeling, Bai Luo secretly decided, next time I see Aqua and Kazuma mixed up like in the original, I will lend you some gold coins, Aqua. Take your pick. But, only one copy. Aqua pointed at the Urukyo and said, its life form is very special. It is together with you, so it cannot obtain the cheats provided by the gods. In short, even in Siking's worldview, Ergian is Bai Luo's summon. If you can get more plugins in this way, then Bai Luo can summon hundreds of skeleton soldiers, which will directly skin the gods bald. Alright. Bai Luo was a little disappointed, but since it was a world rule, there was nothing he could do about it. Greed is the key. Bai Luo was already very satisfied to get a cheat ability for free from Aqua. That's right. Since searching by himself was too inefficient, Bai Luo decided to ask Aqua directly, is there a plugin that can quickly learn skills? Oh, that kind. Aqua is usually bored and reads a lot of comics and light novels, so she immediately understood what Bai Luo meant, that one, it allows people to copy the skills of the people they have come into contact with. The limitation is that the copied skills are only level 1, and the effect that can be exerted is linked to one's own attributes. This is the setting in Siking. Switching skill points can be used on any skill that can be learned, and not just once, but continuously. Just like Huai's explosion magic, if you want to use it, you need a lot of skill points. Similarly, increasing the level of explosion magic also consumes skill points. The reason why Huai's explosion magic is so powerful is that she specializes in this skill and spends all her skill points on it. So, according to Aqua's meaning, if Bai Luo copies Huai's explosion magic, he can indeed get the explosion magic, but it is only level 1 explosion magic. Not only that, if the magic power is not enough, Bai Luo still cannot release the explosive magic. So, this cheat is pretty useless. Aqua, even so, are you going to take it? Bai Luo did not decide immediately, but asked about several plug-in abilities that he thought were more suitable for him. Unfortunately, those abilities more or less have certain limitations and thresholds, and are not very suitable for Bai Luo and Ergilong now. Alright. There was no other way, so Bai Luo finally made a choice, I'm going to copy the ability of the skill. So, this. Aqua, what's your name? My name is Bai Luo, and this child is Ergui Luo. Bo Enihum. Ergian was completely confused the whole time, all she could think about was who am I, where am I, and what am I doing here? Mr. Bai Luo, and your familiar Ergui, you are about to go to another world and become one of the reserve heroes to defeat the Demon King. The moment you defeat the Demon King, you will receive a gift from the gods. You can have one wish granted, any wish at all. As Aqua chanted, a bright magic circle flashed under Bai Luo and Ergui's feet, and then guided the two of them slowly upwards. Bai Luo did not resist. This was the power of the gods in the Siking world, which was far beyond what he could resist now. Ergian was also very sensible. He was held in Bai Luo's arms obediently without making any noise. Hero. May you stand out among the many reserve heroes and become the one who defeats the Demon King. Okay, let's go. The light enveloped Bai Luo and Ergui, leaving only Aqua's voice echoing in their ears. When the light faded, Bai Luo found himself on a street in medieval Europe. The carriage drove along the cobblestone road, making bursts of noise. In front of the rows of red brick houses, pedestrians came and went. There were orcs with animal ears, and elves with pointed ears. There was no doubt that this was the novice village Axel City in Siking's novel. Chapter 11. Really, it was successful like that. Bai Luo was still a little dazed at this time. He had thought that he could get more benefits in the other world. But I didn't expect that things would go so smoothly. Let's not talk about how strong Siking's worldview is. But the adventurer skills here, as well as the mechanism of being able to defeat monsters and level up, are indeed of great help to Bai Luo now. As expected of Aqua. Thank you so much. Bai Luo quickly felt the gift from God, the ability called Copy. Bai Luo race, Half-Blood Demon existence value, 3505 magic, energy block production, elf space, identification intrinsic ability, adaptability unique abilities, traveler breakthrough, kin return, leader, captor, duplicator, analyze the abilities of others and copy them, dependent, the evil one marked worlds, Pokemon world, Sashin world replicator. Looking at the description of replicator that appeared in the unique ability column, Bai Luo knew that this time travel was not a loss for him. The world voice of the Axis world does not exist in the Siking world. The two belong to different worldviews and cannot influence each other. But because of the unique abilities of the extraordinary traveler, Bai Luo is like an anchor point that the base Axis world drops into the Siking world. Similar to a signal station, Bai Luo can receive and feedback the base Axis world at any time and interact with the voice of the world. This kind of interaction affects more than just Bai Luo. It also has the same effect on followers within a certain distance around him, such as the eruption. Therefore, the moment Bai Luo gained the ability to copy, the Axis world analyzed and made a new judgment on it. The end result was that Bai Luo's copying plug-in ability disappeared. Instead, it has a powerful unique skill called Replicator. Let me see the purity of this unique skill. Bai Luo said, focusing on the word Replicator. Soon, information related to this skill appeared in Bai Luo's mind. The Replicator's replication is not a one-shot process. Bai Luo thought to himself, it will take different amounts of time to analyze, depending on the strength of the ability it needs to copy. Only after the analysis is completed can I learn this skill and make it my own. Theoretically, as long as it is not a unique and physiological ability, Bai Luo can copy it. Uniqueness means that there can only be one in the entire world. Physiological, such as moves that require a tail, a third hand, or special body organs to perform. Of course, if physiological abilities can be solved with magic. For example, if the silk produced by spiders is a purely physiological product, Bai Luo would not be able to replicate it. On the contrary, if the silk thread is essentially a product of magic, Bai Luo can simulate it through magic. Specifically, Bai Luo has not yet figured out the limitations and limits of the replicator because he has only had access to it for a short time. We need to find a few targets and test the effects of the replicator. Bai Luo was thinking this as he was gently pulled by the cart while holding Ergui's hand. What's wrong, Yu Rukshan? Where is this place, Bai Luo? Ergui Liang had seen similar Western fantasy-style buildings when Bai Luo was still a village on the edge of the forest. However, the village where Bai Luo originally lived could definitely not compare to this novice city for adventurers. Compared to prosperous Axel, that village was downright rural. This is the other world we are going to explore next. Bai Luo touched Ergui's little head and said with a smile, don't worry, I know a little about this world. Just listen to my arrangements from now on. Eruption is very curious about the new world. The dazzling stalls and the clothes worn by the passers-by were so dazzling that the eyes of Erguian, who had never seen the world, were full of shining stars. Now, let me imagine. Well, first go to the Adventurers Association and register as an adventurer. Bai Luo recalled the story about Suqing and knew that only by becoming an adventurer and getting a skill card could he officially integrate into this world. Bai Luo, who possesses the unique skill of adapter, is not worried about not being able to obtain the abilities of the Siking world. However, Egian might have some problems adapting to the local climate. There are no adapters to integrate into the Siking world, and Ergian still uses the system of the Axis world. According to the principle mentioned by Bai Luo before, the strength of the base Axis world is far greater than that of the ordinary world. Although Siking's other world also has magical factors, every blade of grass and every tree here is also infected by magic and possesses strength and resilience that surpass the material world. However, the concentration of magic power here is far lower than that of the base Axis world. Calculated using the Chaos World rating, it is generally only at a medium concentration level. With a simple conversion, Urkuro, which is only rated B in the basic world, is upgraded by at least 2 levels in the Seeking world, which is the level of Special A. Bai Luo can also do this, such as actively shutting down the adapter and then gaining A-level combat power. But in this way, Bai Luo will not be able to obtain the power system of the new world. By the way, you must control your power in this world, and never use magic power higher than B level. Hey! Ergui looked at Bai Luo in confusion, only to hear the latter explain, the way we travel this time is different from when we went to the Pokemon world. Over in the Pokemon world, I went directly in my real body. It's just that this time, the situation is a little different from that time. Cutting in line to the reincarnation ceremony that Aqua was in charge of was actually a case of the Axis world taking advantage of a loophole in the rules of the Seeking world, allowing him to treat Bai Luo as one of their own. In essence, Bai Luo's behavior is more like smuggling after hiding his identity. I have the power I want in this world. So we must hide our identities as best as possible and not be excluded by the rules of this world. Otherwise, once Bai Luo actively shuts down the adapter, he will jump out of the framework of the current world. Seeking rules will put Bai Luo on the blacklist. The worst result is being driven out and Bai Luo will never be able to return to the Seeking world. It is slightly better, but it also means losing the opportunity to obtain the rules of the Seeking world and strengthen the base Axis world. No matter which one it is, Bai Luo doesn't want to face it. Bo. Ergian raised her little hand. Yanyan understands. I will be careful. You don't have to be so careful. Bai Luo smiled and said, as long as you keep your strength around level B, it will be fine. If we really encounter danger, it is definitely more important to save our lives. The world is gone, and there will be plenty of opportunities in the future. On the premise of protecting himself, Bai Luo thinks there is nothing wrong in keeping a low profile. There's something wrong with me. You ask. Why is it B level? Ergai Liang felt that she was very powerful now. She was not sure what level the B level that Bai Luo mentioned was. Let me briefly explain this. Bai Luo, first of all, it's about expressiveness. Can you understand that, Peng Peng? Expressive. That's right. Bai Luo explained, every world is different. The strength of the base Axis world is higher. A piece of stone there may be harder than the steel in this other world. You are in the Axis world. A normal attack can destroy a house. This is called B-level expressiveness. Then here comes the problem. Bai Luo pointed to the road under his feet and said, what kind of damage can you cause in this world with your current full strength? According to the first level concentration, it is divided into a major realm. The Ergian that came to Seeking's world is equivalent to a special A-level monster. And the special A-level attack, the things here are very crisp. Ryu is not stupid. She has a very strong fighting instinct, so she quickly made an accurate judgment, if Ryu throws one punch, the whole city will collapse. A full force attack from a Class A weapon is enough to cause earthquake-level damage to the city. And this is called special A-level expressiveness. Do you understand? Bai Luo said, the power you can display in the Seeking world must be the same as in the base Axis world. That is to say, when Peng Peng throws a punch, he should control the size of the hole to be several meters wide. That's right. Bai Luo confirmed, that's it. The base Axis world is level B, so when we arrive at the new world, we must also control it at level B. It's not like Bai Luo traveling through the Pokemon world, because he is traveling through in real life, he doesn't have to worry about expressiveness. Bai Luo, who was only at E level at the time, was placed in the lower level chaotic world, and his performance was directly improved by 3 levels, reaching the B level. The unruly people from Baishang Township were naturally defeated by Bai Luo, who was at level B, with 1 punch each. The world has memory. We can deceive her, but we can't deceive her twice in the same way. So, unless the Eruptor also gains abilities similar to those of the Adapter in the future. Otherwise, if she is in a different world, it is best to use the same expression as in the base Axis world. I understand. Yuruko understood that she was not the kind of Pokemon that would cause trouble to her master. P.S. The setting of expressiveness is to balance the differences in combat power among the worlds. I hope everyone can understand. In addition, I would like to ask for flowers, comments, and support from everyone. Chapter 12. Excuse me, can you tell me where the Adventurers Guild is? Bai Luo stopped a passerby and asked him where the Adventurers Guild was. With the other party's instructions, he found the guild. The Adventurers Guild in the city is a rather large building. Before entering, Bai Luo and Ergui could smell the aroma of food wafting from inside. Where's Bo? Ergui Yan, what a nice smell, is this a restaurant? The guild here also functions as a tavern. Adventurers can order food here. While Bai Luo was explaining to Ergui, he took the lead in pushing open the door of the trade union. When entering the guild, the first thing that catches your eye is the hall that is large enough to hold a banquet, and the neatly arranged long tables. Although they hadn't reached the restaurant yet, quite a few teams of adventurers had already gathered there, drinking and chatting. The bustling sounds made the atmosphere of the entire guild seem very lively. Ah, welcome. If you need to be introduced to your work, please go to the counter inside. If you need to eat, there are still many empty seats, so feel free to take a seat. As soon as the two entered the door, a waitress with short red hair came up to them warmly. When they saw the new faces appear, the adventurers in armor, leather armor, and wizard robes turned their heads and their eyes fell on Bai Luo and Ergui Luo. What is that? Demon. It should be a familiar or something. It looks so cute. Oh, it's really cute. Bai Luo doesn't care. He is a pure human being and there is nothing much to say. The Ergian is quite eye-catching. There are no creatures like Pokemon in the Seeking world. The monsters here, except for the Demon King's army, have almost no intelligence and are pure monsters. In addition, familiars from another world can generally be understood as summoned beasts. There is also a summoner profession among the adventurers in the guild, but no one has ever seen a familiar like Ergiran. Where's Bo? Being watched by so many people, Ergian shyly hid behind Bai Luo. This reaction attracted even more people's attention. Especially those beautiful girls with delicate looks, they instantly fell in love with the little lowly like Ergian. Unfortunately, they didn't know Bai Luo and didn't dare to come up and ask directly. Let's go. Bai Luo took Ergui's hand. He ignored everyone's comments and looks. The adventurers had no ill intentions, they were simply curious. Soon, Bai Luo and Ergian crossed the hall and came to the counter. There were 4 counter staff, 2 of whom were female, and the one Bai Luo chose was the mature blonde sister in the animation. You too. The receptionist, Ms. Luna, looked at Bai Luo and Ergui with curiosity. No, it should be this gentleman, how can I help you? Luna originally thought that Eruption was a little human girl. There's no way, Peng Peng is only about 1 meter tall. If converted into a human being, she would be at most a little girl of 7 or 8 years old. But when you take a closer look, you can see that although the appearance of the Eruption is cute, it can't be said to be human at all. Instead, it looks more like some kind of intelligent monster. However, considering that Ergian is very well behaved, and this is the base camp for adventurers. Luna didn't think much about it and just thought she was Bai Luo's familiar and summoned beast. I want to register as an adventurer. Ah, you're a new member who wants to join. Of course, no problem. Luna smiled and said, as long as you pay the 1000 Eris handling fee, you can proceed with the attribute test. The handling fee. Cough. Bai Luo thought that he seemed to have no money in this world. Fortunately, Bai Luo was not as nervous as Kazuma and Aqua. Instead, he calmly took out a piece of dog-head gold dug in the Jura Forest from the elf space and placed it in front of the counter. We came here from far away, and we have already spent all our Eris reserves along the way. I wonder if the guild can trade directly with gold. Gold is a precious metal in most of the world. So in order to prevent the current situation from happening, Bai Luo specially prepared enough gold, minerals, and gems. Of course, Bai Luo's nugget gold has been processed. Bai Luo analyzed the concentration of magic elements in the material and reduced it by several levels before exchanging it for the currency of the Seeking world. Otherwise, this thing alone in the Seeking world can only be some unknown metal that looks like gold. There is no way, the world is different and the rules of physics are completely different. Without processing, Bai Luo would not dare to take it out casually. Please wait. Luna was startled by the gold nugget that Bai Luo took out. I'll get the testing equipment right away. Although she was surprised, Luna did what she had to do without any hesitation. Just as Bai Luo thought, the Adventurers Guild was a jack of all trades. Even the identification of gold and treasures could be handled here. this. But soon, Bai Luo ran into trouble. Wow, what a strong magical reaction. Luna looked at the information displayed on the detection instrument in surprise. The proud blonde lady said in disbelief, "It's just a piece of gold, but the magic power contained in it is even greater than that of a high-concentration magic crystal. Incredible! Is this gold dug out from the magic crystal mine?" Not only Luna, but even the gold shop owner who came to test the gold was shocked by this piece of gold. What? Bai Luo scratched his cheek awkwardly. Bai. It seems that the magic element has not been cleared enough. But I did weaken it to the level of a medium chaos world. It seems that even in the same medium-level chaotic world, there are differences in the amount of magic contained. The Seeking world should be on the lower level among the medium chaotic worlds. Can it be exchanged? It's okay. The gold shop owner who came to take charge pushed up his glasses and asked, "The question is, which exchange method do you want to choose? What's the meaning? That is, do you plan to exchange it for gold or trade it for a sufficient amount of magic crystals?" This was the first time that the gold shop owner had encountered such a situation. You turned good gold into magic crystal. It turns out that young people really know how to have fun. Ahem. Bai Luo understood, and he asked, "Which one is more expensive?" "Of course it's the magic crystal." "Okay, then I'll sell it as magic crystals. Thank you for your help." Soon, Bai Luo exchanged this nugget for about 3 million eris. Chapter 13. As for the initial 1,000 eris, they were simply wiped out by the Adventurers Guild as a small change. However, Bai Luo paid another 1,000 eris as an appraisal for Ergui. "Why? Shall we have this little fellow appraised?" Luna was a little confused, but Bai Luo wanted to spend money and she couldn't stop him. She first handed 2 cards to Bai Luo and Ergui, and then explained to them the nature of adventurers. "Please look here on the card. Is there an item called level? Luna, as you two know, everything in this world has a soul inside of it. No matter what kind of being it is, as long as you eat or kill a living being, that is, terminate a certain life activity, you can absorb a part of the soul memory of that being. That is what is collectively called experience points. These experience points are generally not visible to Ruyin," Luna said, "but as long as you hold such a card, the experience points absorbed by the adventurer will be displayed on it, and the corresponding level will also be revealed. This is the standard for the strength of adventurers. The number of targets conquered will also be recorded here. As experience points accumulate, all kinds of creatures will suddenly grow extremely fast one day. This is what is called transcending levels and becoming stronger. Simply put, as long as you increase your level, you can get various benefits, such as gaining points to learn new skills, enhancing attributes, etc. Yan, do you feel anything?" Bai Luo glanced at his card and found that the attribute values on it were very different from the basic axis system he knew. Well, because there is no reference, Bai Luo can't quite understand it. As for Aron, after she touched the card, there was no reaction and it remained blank. "Hey! Is the card broken?" Miss Luna was very confused, she thought there was something wrong with the card. But after changing the card, it is still blank. Logically speaking, this situation should not occur anyway. Even if it is just a summoned creature or even a visitor from another world, its soul value will be identified due to the rules of the other world and then displayed on a card. However, Ergui's situation was obviously beyond Luna's understanding. "It's so strange. I've never encountered anything like this before. Who is this child? Yurukshan is not a creature from the Sashin world, she is an outsider from the Axis world and the Pokemon world. To put it in more understandable terms, Eruption's entire body is wrapped in the laws of the Axis world. This makes it impossible for the rules of the Seeking world to penetrate this protective film and spy on the information of Ergian. They can only treat it as Bai Luo's pendant and be regarded as an entity that is one with him. That is why, once Ergian unleashes his power, the Seeking world will implicate Bai Luo as well and drive them out together. Maybe it's because this child is my familiar. Well, even if it's a familiar, the card should be." Luna murmured a few words, but since it involved Bai Luo's privacy, she didn't delve into it. "Can I see your card, sir?" "Well, here you go." Luna took the card handed over by Bai Luo, and sure enough, she found the label of familiar in his attribute column. Although Ergui Luo was not recognized, Bai Luo was considered one of them in Seeking's world. Through Bai Luo, Seeking world easily determined that Ergian was his familiar. The familiar evil marked in the attribute column is the best evidence. It seems that this little fellow is a very remarkable familiar. Luna didn't think about it carefully. It was immoral to pry into other people's privacy. As the guild receptionist, Luna is well aware of the principle of speaking too much and making mistakes, and of not speaking too much to new friends. Next, please fill in your height, weight, age, physical characteristics, etc. on this document, Mr. Bai Luo. Next, with the help of Luna, Bai Luo filled in all the information that needed to be entered. Okay, that'll do. Then, Mr. Bai Luo, please touch this stone tablet. In this way, we can know the parameters of your various abilities. Luna, after that, please choose the job you want based on the values. Is it finally time to start? When Bai Luo travels to the Seeking world, the two things he is most looking forward to are Aqua's plug-in ability and the career system here. Although he is already a learner with copying skills, Bai Luo still has a relative desire for a career. Because occupations can bring improvements to attributes. The Axis world gave Bai Luo magic elements, and learners allowed him to gain skills. But magic elements only act on existence values. It doesn't have much to do with an individual's strength, speed, and other attributes. The demons in the Axis world rely on various passive characteristics except for their physical armor and skin. There is no setting that the higher the level, the more abnormal the physical strength. Bai Luo can only look for this kind of power in other worlds. And his first stop was Seeking career. Your muscle strength, vitality, magic power, flexibility, and agility are all very good. Luna recommended, with attributes like these, you can directly choose those advanced professions. The basic attributes brought by the sea level in the basic Axis world are also elite in the Seeking world. The advanced professions that Luna mentioned are those such as Crusader, Sword Master, High Priest, Archmage, etc. Bai Luo did not make a choice directly, but carefully asked Luna about the information of these superior professions. Luna is indeed a professional counter-receptionist. She patiently and carefully told Bai Luo the advantages, disadvantages, and characteristics of each profession. Are you sure you want to be a martial artist? Luna, excuse me, among the physical professions, the martial artist's defense is not as good as the Crusader, and the attack is not as good as the Sword Master. Yes. Bai Luo finally chose the physical melee profession called martial artist. The reason for making such a choice is that the attributes that can be improved after each upgrade of the martial artist profession are exactly what Bai Luo needs most now. Health, strength, agility, flexibility. Each upgrade of a martial artist is not as good as other higher level professions, but it wins in balance. In Bai Luo's plan, he can increase his existence value through followers such as Peng Peng, thereby continuously increasing his magic elements. Bai Luo noticed it when he activated the skill card just now. Every adventurer will accumulate a certain amount of initial experience points when he or she first changes his or her job. After all, it is impossible for a person to live to adulthood without ever gaining experience. For example, Aqua in the original work accumulated a large number of skill points when she first became an adventurer. The reason for this is that Aqua's level itself is very high. Just like Bai Luo now, his inventory experience value is more than 30,000, which is almost 10 times the existence value. However, using magic elements to upgrade the level of the Seeking world will not make the magic elements in Bai Luo's body disappear. The magical power originally brought by the magic element remained unchanged, but it seemed as if an extra attribute and skill had appeared out of thin air, superimposed on the basic Axis attribute column. In addition, the experience value system of the Seeking world is different from that of traditional online games. The information we got from Luna is that in order to level up to 100, approximately 1 million experience points are required. Of course, although the maximum level is fixed. But because of everyone's starting point, the choices they make, careers they pursue, skills they learn, and their growth potential are different. The gap between level 100 and level 100 may be even greater than the gap between humans and dogs. The leader increases the magic element, which is converted into experience points, which are used to increase the martial artist's professional level and gain attributes. And those skill points can all be used on the most cost-effective skills. The skills that Bai Luo obtained through the copying ability all have an initial level of 1. If he wants to upgrade them, he can only do so by adding points. Well, this is the rule of the Seeking world. I just don't know what kind of changes will happen after I bring these skills back. However, these have little to do with Bai Luo. He did not choose the copy ability for Su Qing's skills. The place where learners can use their skills should be the worlds that Bai Luo will travel through in the future. The special abilities from different worlds, copying them and making them Bai Luo's own, this is the correct way for learners to open them. Well, please keep your skill cards and carefully choose the skills you want to learn. If you want to accept a mission, you can go to the notice board and choose the one you like. Well, thank you for your help, Miss Luna. In this short period of time, Bai Luo has become familiar with Luna. Bai Luo left the counter with Ergui Yan. He took out the skill card and began to look at the various skills possessed by the martial artist. Before adding points, copy all the skills that can be copied. Thinking so, Bai Luo chose a long table. He ordered some food and ate with Ergui Yan while using his identification skills to observe the adventurers in the hall. Defense Theft Quick Cross / One-Handed Sword Mastery Elementary Magic. There are a variety of skills, although most of them are low level, there are also advanced skills that require a large number of skill points to learn. The only pity is that this is just a novice village in the Seeking world, and the adventurers are generally not of high level. Hey! Suddenly, Bai Luo noticed a figure in the guild. He stared at the character list that appeared in front of him: name, Yu occupation, Archmage skills, advanced magic, intermediate magic, teleportation, high-speed chanting, multiple casting, magic amplification. Advanced magic. The magic system in the Seeking world is different from the generally known fireball, healing, wind blade and the like. The magic here is more like the elementary wisdom, intermediate wisdom and advanced wisdom in Heroes of Might and Magic. The skill advanced magic requires 30 skill points in the advanced profession of Archmage. After learning advanced magic, the Archmage can freely record various powerful magics. By increasing the skill level of advanced magic, the power of the corresponding advanced magic will also increase. In short, it's a one-trick pony that works everywhere. A magician does not need to know dozens or hundreds of kinds of magic, but instead opens a high-level magic skill and then specializes in practicing certain powerful spells. This is not a game world. For the same fireball spell, how many, when and at what angle you release it all depends on the adventurer himself. And such a mechanism is perfect for Bai Luo. No Archmage class. It doesn't matter. Learner, I will take action. So, Bai Luo did not hesitate at all and directly copied all the skills that Yu now possessed without leaving a single one. By the way, since Yun is here, where do we get Huai? Bai Luo will never forget the most powerful explosion magic in the entire Seeking. Soon, Bai Luo found a little lowly from the Red Demon clan who looked a bit immature. Learner, copying started, copying completed. Done. Bai Luo gave himself a thumbs up in his heart, thinking that he really made a lot of money from this time travel. Dozens of professions and over 100 skills. Bai Luo even found a colleague who had changed his job to become a martial artist in the crowd, and copied all of the martial artist's skills, saving him a lot of skill points. As expected of Seeking Novice Village, there are so many talented people. A new class, martial artist, and a method of converting magic into experience points to improve basic attributes. There are also unique skills for learners of this bug. Next, let me think about which skills should be upgraded. More than 30,000 experience points, after all converted, can allow me to reach level 15. Martial artist is a high-level profession. In addition to the basic 15 skill points each time you level up, you can gain an additional 2 skill points. There is no bonus for primary professions, 1 point more for intermediate professions, and 2 points more for advanced professions. In this way, the gap between adventurers became apparent. 45 skill points used to increase skill levels. Different skills can be upgraded a limited number of times, and will be displayed in the form of LV1 and LV2. When a skill reaches the maximum level, it will be displayed as not max, which means it has reached the limit and cannot be upgraded. Skill points are limited, so it's best to use them wisely. Bai Luo glanced at the skills he already had. Excluding the passive skills that could not be upgraded, his attention was mainly focused on those skills that increased by percentage. For example, the magic type high-speed chanting LV1, reduce casting time by 10%. Very simple description, but very rough. Instead of increasing the casting speed, it reduces it. The magic that originally takes 10 seconds to release can be shortened to 9 seconds after activating this skill. If it can be upgraded to LV10, it will be instant. This skill must be activated. Similar to high-speed chanting is multicasting. Multicasting LV1 can release 2 kinds of magic at the same time when upgraded to level 2, 3 kinds of magic can be released at the same time. When seeing this skill, Bai Luo could imagine the scene of throwing out hundreds of fireballs at once after combining the fireball chain, intermediate magic, with multiple castings. So far, things have been going very smoothly. Bai Luo had no intention of intervening in Su Qing's plot. He needed to grow up as quickly as possible, and Su Qing's life was too comfortable. This place is more suitable for Bai Luo to use as a place to replenish supplies rather than to improve his strength. You said there are wild monsters to fight in the Siking world? Bai Luo's answer is, not enough. Siking has too few wild monsters. In this world, eating food that gives a lot of experience points is the best way to increase your level. Fighting monsters is more about solving troubles and handling the requests from people who come to submit tasks. What's more, even if the level is raised to 100, it is only 1 million experience points. Converted into magic elements, it is around 100,000, or even lower. The specific conversion method can only be determined after Bai Luo defeats monsters and levels up here at Suqing and returns to the base Axis world. Chapter 14. Next. Bai Luo focused his attention on the skill list of the martial artist profession. Let's see which skills are suitable for me now. The profession of martial artist belongs to the type of dual cultivation of magic and monsters. However, compared to the pure long-range magic of the mage, the martial artist's magic is more used for assistance and to strengthen himself. This respect is very similar to the magic swordsman that often appears in Western fantasy novels. A passive reinforcement, once clicked it will be permanently effective. This is good, click it. There's no need to add these active moves. Bai Luo thought to himself, the level 1 skills copied from others are enough. Strength Enhancement LV1, Basic Strength Attribute increased by 15%. Strong Body LV1, increases health limit by 15%, increases health recovery speed by 50%. Agility LV1, gain 15% increase in basic agility attribute. Among the martial artist's skill list, Bai Luo's favorites are those that can increase strength, health, agility, and recovery speed. Most of these skills are related to basic attributes. The basic attributes are obtained by Bai Luo through Su Qing's level upgrade, which can reach up to level 100. Of course, this is just the level of the Siking world. However, Bai Luo will also travel to other worlds to obtain more methods to convert magic elements into physical strength. According to Bai Luo's guess, these skills can enhance not only Su Qing's attribute values, but also Bai Luo himself. To give a simple example, let's say that the health points that Siking gets at level 100 are 10,000 points. Even if Bai Luo upgrades his strength and physical fitness skill to the maximum level, the maximum he can do is to increase his health by 1.5 times, to 25,000. The same goes for other skills, there are certain limits. But what if these skills strengthened Bai Luo himself instead of the fixed 10,000 health points? Then when Bai Luo's vitality is increased to 1 million after accumulating in several worlds, the full level endurance skill will bring an additional increase of 1.5 million. This is an improvement beyond Siking's career panel. It is equivalent to a permanent effect on Bai Luo himself, rather than simply a level 100 character obtained in the Siking world. What are you still hesitating about? Bai Luo decisively added 9 skill points to endurance, raising it to strong physique LVMAX. Wow! This feeling! There's something. At this moment, Bai Luo could clearly feel the surging vitality surging in his body. Not only that, Bai Luo's physical recovery ability has also been greatly enhanced. To describe it in data, it means an increase of 150% in basic health and 500% in basic recovery speed. What a domineering way to improve skills! Bai Luo clearly felt the power of the skill of strengthening the body. This is an exclusive skill for advanced professional martial artists. Other professions may have similar skills, but there will definitely be differences in numerical bonuses. In addition, among the many skills copied, there was an exclusive skill from the Guardian Knight, which gave Bai Luo a huge surprise. Lifelink LVMAX, an exclusive skill of the Guardian Knight that can bind a teammate so that both parties can share their health. Just as simple and crude. Life is linked, life is shared. The only flaw is that the health points are deducted from the party that is attacked. Guardian Knight and Squishy Mage, the former obviously has higher defense. But if the person being attacked is a mage, his life pool will be greatly reduced. In other words, it's like adding a weakness to the Guardian Knight. As long as you keep attacking the Squishy Mage, you can skip the Guardian Knight's armor and defense and cause direct damage to it. Of course, the benefits are also obvious. That is, you can protect your companions, avoid accidents, and gain extra health points. It seems like it adds a weakness to the Guardian Knight, but it's not the case. The mage always stands in the rear, and generally speaking, he will not be harmed at all. The Guardian Knight at the front can actually gain an extra bonus to the mage's health. Therefore, as long as the team's tacit understanding is high enough, it is no exaggeration to say that this skill is a magical skill. As long as the front row doesn't fall, the back row won't be harmed. Even if an accident occurs, it can avoid the dilemma of losing the main output all of a sudden, thus improving the fall tolerance rate. Yin Yan. When it comes to the skill of life connection, the first thing Bai Luo thinks of is naturally his own Ergian. Ergian is Bai Luo's follower, so naturally he fits the premise of being a teammate. So, after Bai Luo told Ergilong about the effect of the life link, the little guy chose to accept it without hesitation. This way, Peng Peng can better protect Bai Luo. Ergian was originally meant to protect Bai Luo. If anything happened to Bai Luo, Ergian would definitely go crazy. Now, with this skill, Yuruko no longer has to worry about anyone being unethical and attacking her trainer. Link completed. Target, familiar evil. Bai Luo opened the skill card and found that his health did not receive any additional bonus. Is it because the system of the Seeking World cannot detect the properties of the evil spirit? Bai Luo thought of this possibility, but he could also clearly feel that there was some kind of connection between himself and Ergilong. Therefore, the sharing of health points brought by the connection does exist. It's just that the method may be somewhat different from what Bai Luo knows. Bai Luo didn't delve into this. Anyway, knowing that the two of them can protect each other is enough. That. A wizard girl wearing a witch hat and dressed coolly looked at the evil spirit beside Bai Luo cautiously. Can I hug her? Yin Yan. Bo. Eruption can clearly distinguish the kindness and malice of others. She doesn't hate the humans here. Because they seem to like her a lot. Bo Ni. However, Ergian also has his own demands. What did she say? The wizard lady stood there timidly, feeling nervous and expectant. Girls can do it, but men can't. They will be attacked. Bai Luo didn't want her little cotton-padded jacket to be touched by those rough men. No problem. The wizard lady immediately puffed out her chest and assured, we will protect this child and will never let those stinky men get close to her. Well, that's no problem. Bo. Ergian raised his little hand, and his cute appearance instantly captured the hearts of countless girls. Ah! Sure enough, the girls in the guild had been paying attention to Ergiluo for a long time. When they saw Bai Luo introducing Ergian to them, they immediately surrounded him. For a time, Ergian became the darling of all female adventurers and was warmly welcomed and loved. Chapter 15. Oh my, brother, this is not moral. Suddenly, a sturdy man with a fierce look sat in front of Bai Luo. Feel sorry. Bai Luo had no intention of backing off. My daughter is so cute, she won't let any other man touch her except me. You're just a newcomer, but you're brave. The strong man was not interested in cute things, he just came to say hello to Bai Luo, the newcomer. 2 glasses of bubbles here. Your bubbles. Soon, the waitress placed 2 glasses of bubble wine in front of the strong man and Bai Luo. The burly man pushed one of the cups in front of Bai Luo. Welcome to become an adventurer. Sure enough, just as Bai Luo thought, the other party had no ill intentions and just wanted to get to know him. Thank you very much. Bai Luo did not refuse, he chose to adapt to Suqing's rhythm. In this world, Bai Luo decided to play the role of an adventurer in the novice village, and it was obviously necessary for him to get along with the adventurers here. Moreover, after traveling through time for a month, Bai Luo hasn't had a normal conversation with anyone for a long time. Gurgle gurgle gurgle. Bai Luo drank the glass of bubbly in one gulp and then slammed the empty glass heavily on the table. Bloody. Hey. Cool. Bai Luo wiped the foam from the corner of his mouth and thought to himself that this was indeed the bubble wine that Aqua liked. It was delicious. How is it? Isn't it pretty good? Unknown bald strongman adventurer, this is our Axel's special bubble wine. It's really delicious. After Bai Luo finished speaking, the male adventurers around him gathered around and began to introduce themselves to each other. Axel's circle of adventurers is just this small. The people here basically know each other. Whenever a new person joins, they will make friends with him/her. This is also the case with Aqua and Kazuma in the original work. Ms. Luna. Finally, after being treated to the 3rd glass of bubbly wine, Bai Luo couldn't sit still anymore. He knew what these old foxes were planning. It was simply because he saw that he had just received 3 million heiress, so he wanted him to treat him to a meal. But Bai Luo doesn't care. Men are like that. How can you care about such a small gain or loss? What's more, these heiress are just a drop in the bucket for Bai Luo. As long as Bai Luo is willing, he can get 100 or 1,000 of these magic crystals. Today is a bubble wine, drink as much as you want. Bai Luo said as he took out a few nuggets of gold that had been diluted with magic essence. I'll pay for the wine. I'll pay. Ah! Long live the newcomer. Bai Luo. Bai Luo. Bai Luo. Ha 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 ha. Being swept up by this group of stupid adventurers in the guild, Bai Luo was also immersed in this unprecedented joyful atmosphere and started drinking and chatting with them. Money flows like water, but the pressure accumulated through time also dissipates quickly. No, I can't drink anymore. I've reached my limit too. Goo inside the Adventurers Guild, a group of big men were lying in a mess, but Bai Luo was the only one still standing there, drinking the last sip of the bubble wine. Oh! Bai Luo casually threw the wooden wine glass onto the pile of wooden cups. He looked around and sneered, a bunch of scum, that's all. Unfortunately, the bald strong man who came at the beginning has already fallen down. Otherwise, he would definitely say, I'm sorry that I couldn't satisfy Lord Bai Luo. Where's Bo? Seeing that the place had become quiet, Ergian came over skipping and jumping, surrounded by the girls. The little guy was quite happy. The girl here is not only pretty but also very gentle. I ordered a lot of food for her. The energy cubes tasted good, but they didn't provide the same enjoyment as eating a big bite of meat. Eruption is a grass-type Pokemon, a magical creature that can survive on water and sunlight. But she can also eat meat, and even digest fiber, that is, live on grass. Are you full? Bai Luo asked. If it's not enough, you can order some more. I'm full. Ergui patted his bulging belly, expressing his satisfaction. By the way, Ergui has a lot of delicious food, Ergui likes them. That's good. Bai Luo was very happy that Eruption liked this world. When he took Eruption out of the Pokemon world, he promised her that he would witness more beautiful scenery with her. Leaving aside the forest exploration in the Axis world, the novice city of Axel did bring a lot of joy to Erotica. Ms. Luna. After deducting the cost of the bubble wine, Mr. Bai Luo still has 2.4 million heiress left. Before leaving the Adventurers Guild, Bai Luo found Miss Luna and paid off the previous wine bill. No need to give heiress the remaining change, order some favorite food for the beautiful ladies. Of course, Miss Luna too. Bai Luo waved at everyone and said, it's my treat today, everyone, eat and drink as much as you want, don't be polite to me. The second batch of gold nuggets was exchanged for a total of 4 million. After deducting the cost of drinks, there was still 2.4 million left, which was more than enough to entertain the remaining girls. Just consider it as a welcome gift for my new arrival. Bai Luo, see you next time, Miss Luna and everyone else. Goodbye, Peng Peng. Thank you for your hospitality, handsome boy. Bai generous and handsome. Bai Luo is not Sato Kazuma. In just a short while, he has won the favor of almost all the adventurers. Let's go. Bo. After leaving the Adventurers Guild, Ergui and Bai Luo returned to the street. She curiously asked Bai Luo about his upcoming itinerary. Finish the procurement of supplies in this world, and then leave. Bai Luo does not plan to stay in the Seeking world, he still needs Ergui to increase his magic power by defeating monsters. Space backpacks, wood and stone, condiments, vegetable monsters, fruit monsters, various meats, daily necessities, etc. It took Bai Luo half a day, until nightfall, to complete this large purchase. The original 3 million heiress were reduced to only 500,000 in a flash. This shows that the purchasing power of heiress as a currency is not as high as Bai Luo imagined. Please send 2 meal sets to the room, thank you. The two returned to the hotel where they were staying. Bai Luo asked the front desk to bring food, then he lay back on the soft big bed and exhaled a deep breath. Are you tired? Not tired. Ergian was also a little tired, but she tried not to show it. Yan can still continue to work. Don't force yourself. Bai Luo stroked the little girl's head with a little heartache, then opened his arms and held her in his arms. Where's Bo? Ergian is actually not really tired. Being able to be with Bai Luo, Ergian is happy no matter what he does. Have a good rest tonight, and we will take on the subjugation mission tomorrow. Are we going to fight? Ergui Yan was eager to try and said, Yan Yan will do his best. No, don't. Bai Luo exclaimed quickly, your punch was terrifying enough. If you continue, I'm afraid you'll blow Axel to pieces. Where's Bo? Hold on a bit, and use as little force as possible. All right. Ergian listens to Bai Luo in everything, whatever he says is what it goes on. Chapter 16. Hey! Brother Bai Luo! Are you here to take the mission, Bai Luo? Good morning. Bo. Bai Luo and Ergian greeted everyone while coming to the notice board where commissions were posted. After what happened yesterday, everyone here has accepted Bai Luo and Ergui Luo. Mr. Bai Luo, do you want to accept the commission? Ah! Bai Luo looked at Luna who came in front of him, do you have any recommendations? For new adventurers, how about this? Defeat a giant toad. Defeat the giant toad. That's right, those are the frogs that Aqua and Kazuma chose to attack at the beginning of the anime, and then were almost eaten. Can. Bai Luo nodded, and then followed Miss Luna's instructions and accepted the commission. A giant frog that swallowed the water goddess Aqua alive many times. Let me see your quality. Bai Luo was quite interested in the giant frog that made Aqua say, frogs are also cute when you look at them up close. Bam! 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 So, on the green grass slope, Bai Luo and Ergui stood on a high place, looking at the many giant toads jumping in the distance. During this period, toads will enter their breeding season, and then a large number of toads will wreak havoc on the surrounding areas, causing great trouble to residents near the town. Identification. Bai Luo did not take action immediately, but instead used identification skills on these giant toads. Giant toad level, 5 specific attributes, omitted inherent abilities, slippery body, damage reduction, plump meat strange inherent ability. Bai Luo didn't know how to complain about the delicious meat setting, but it's only level 5, it doesn't look very strong. It's not so much that the giant frog is not strong. It's better to say that Kazuma and Aqua in the original work are pretty bad. Ergui, remember the precautions I told you. Let's do an experiment on power regulation with the giant frog here. Then. Bai Luo finished speaking and began to look around, well, kill that big blue guy over there for me. That one. Yes, that's it. Bai Luo pointed at a blue giant frog that was flirting with 2 other giant frogs, one pink and one yellow, it's so arrogant, hugging them left and right. I've tolerated it for a long time. Played it. Bo. Ergian accepted the order and jumped out without any hesitation. She was very fast, and in the blink of an eye she had rushed down the hillside and arrived in front of the jumping blue toad. Quack! The blue toad seemed to notice something approaching. It lowered its head, and its nearly 10-meter tall body stood in front of Ergilong, like a mountain of flesh. Thornvine stick. Unlike the confused blue toad, eruption would not wait for it to react. It immediately condensed a thorny vine stick and hit the opponent's abdomen. Boom! As the thorny vine stick was swung, a blue fluorescent light like a storm fell, and the surrounding air and earth were twisted and shattered in an instant. There was an earth-shattering noise, as if dozens of bombs exploded at the same time. The terrifying explosive force rushed into the blue toad's body without the toad having any idea what was happening. Quack! Puff! Amid the painful croaking of frogs, the giant toad's body exploded like a balloon. The next moment, the toad's flesh and blood mixed together, covering the entire body of the eruption, and then dyed the surrounding cracked ground a bright red color. But this is not the end. As Ergian swung his stick, the surging wind pressure that followed instantly crushed the hill under the giant frog's feet. Also crushed were the rather innocent giant pink frog and giant yellow frog. The 3 giant frogs didn't even have time to react before they followed their lover. His Bai Luo stared blankly at the scene in front of him and immediately gasped. He didn't expect that the first time Ergian attacked in this world, he would unleash such terrifying destructive power. Also failing to react was Eruption himself, the one who caused all this. Where's Bo? The little guy felt sticky all over, and when he looked at the giant toad, it had become a pile of minced meat. This scene made Bai Luo and the little guy feel creepy. The blow from Ergui's stick was like using a needle to puncture a balloon filled with water. Yan Yan, are you okay? Bai Luo quickly ran to Ergilong, summoned water elements, and began to clean the blood off the little guy's body. Peng Peng is not injured. That's right, is this okay? Ergian was a little worried that she had ruined Bai Luo's experiment. She also didn't expect that the toad looked huge but was actually extremely fragile. There's nothing we can do about it. The B-level or Ki in the Axis world can already demonstrate A-level destructive power when placed in the Seeking world. What is the concept of special A grade? In the original work, after being given names, Benimaru, Shin, Shina, and others evolved from B-level big demons to A-level demon humans. When fighting against the Pighead tribe army, Ziwan could create a bottomless chasm hundreds of meters deep with just a casual strike. Hung Guan even used a black flame prison to slaughter hundreds of pig-headed people. With the same expressiveness, it is normal for eruption to blow up a level 5 giant toad with one stick, along with the small hill under its feet. And this is when Ergian was restraining his strength. Otherwise, if it exploded with all its strength, it would be able to smash a hillside tens of meters high into pieces. Special A-level monster, so terrifying. After seeing the performance of Ergai Liang, Bai Luo didn't dare to let her act recklessly in the Seeking world again. He took out the skill card and found that the experience value on it had increased by 2 points. Through this, Bai Luo was sure of one thing. Those are the monsters defeated by Ergirong, and the experience points will also be counted towards Bai Luo. Come to think of it, after all, it is impossible for a summoner to let the summoned beast beat the enemy half to death first, and then go forward to finish off the enemy, right? Ping ping, take a rest first. Bai Luo asked Ergui to cover for him, then stretched his body and began to choose his opponent. The mission requirement to defeat giant toads is to kill 5 of them. Of course, the more tasks there are, the better. Bai Luo didn't want to waste time on such low-level tasks. What he really needed to do was to calculate the conversion ratio between Zuqing's experience points and the basic Axis magic elements. Chapter 17. It's decided to be you. Bai Luo selected a giant pink toad, exerted force on his feet, and rushed out like an arrow. I'll deal with you. Falling from a high place, Bai Luo descended from the sky like a meteorite and gave the pink toad a flying kick. Bang! Thus, the familiar scene appeared in front of Bai Luo again. When Bai Luo's feet touched the pink toad's head, he did not feel any resistance at all. His whole body went straight through the other's body like diving. Boom! The earth was shattered, and countless rocks flew in all directions. Bai Luo stood in the middle of a huge pit, his entire body covered in blood, and his clothes were covered in sticky minced meat and internal organs. Behind Bai Luo was the remains of a giant toad that exploded once again. What's going on? Feeling the slippery touch on his body, Bai Luo felt a chill down his spine. I shouldn't have used any magic power. Is pure flesh so strong? No, that's not right. Bai Luo looked at the extra skills in the attribute column, especially the passive skills. I won't mention the passive abilities of the magic department, but the physical department's Lancer, Knight, Swordsman, Crusader, Dragon Knight, Martial Artist, Boxer and Thief, adding together the enhanced skills of so many professions, even if they are all level 1, it is already an improvement of more than 100%. And the 100% here is based on the premise that Bai Luo converts all magic elements into experience points and uses them to strengthen his body. The body strengthened by magic elements is used as the basis. Combined with the passive skill of the profession and the enhancement of the martial artist, all attributes have been increased by at least 300%. With such physical fitness bonus, Bai Luo's physical fitness is equivalent to A level, no different from special A. There is no absolute relationship between the existence value of the base Axis world and its actual combat power. The Storm Dragon's existence value is 80 million, but it doesn't mean that he is much stronger than the awakened Demon King. But Bai Luo is different now. The magic element is integrated into the flesh and blood. This alone has surpassed almost all monsters. All right. I underestimated my own abilities. Bai Luo once again cast water element magic to cleanse himself, and only then did he feel a little better. Where's Bo? I'm fine. Bai Luo, like Ergui Luo, was now in a very miserable state, but after looking at each other, they laughed at the same time. Okay, wait a minute, we'll go back and take a shower soon. Bai Luo did not return immediately, but continued hunting the giant toad. Only this time, Bai Luo was no longer so reckless, but used elementary magic fireball to attack nearby toads from a distance. And when Bai Luo killed the 50th giant toad, he finally heard the sound of his magic value increasing. 50 toads, each providing 2 experience points, that's 100 points. Bai Luo is now level 15. When a level 15 fights a level 5, there must be an experience penalty, so he only gets 2 experience points. But what really surprised Bai Luo was not this, but the conversion rate between experience points and magic elements. The ratio of magic to experience points is 110. But on the other hand, the ratio of experience points to magic points is 100:1. This huge gap really made Bai Luo feel incredible. Why? Bai Luo didn't understand. He thought about it for a long time and finally thought of a possibility. Su Qing's experience value is low-level energy. If the low level is converted into high level, the proportion will definitely be very large. The most likely possibility for the conversion of magic power into experience points is that there was some kind of interference in the middle. Just like the poor signal reception, the magic element suffered some wear and tear during the conversion process. If that's the case, then the cost-effectiveness of experience points won't be that high. Even if you reach the maximum level, you will only get 1 million experience points. Converted, it's only 10,000 magic elements. Bai Luo couldn't even imagine how many monsters he would need to kill and how much food containing experience points he would need to eat in order to reach the maximum level in the Seeking world. Whatever. Even if it's only 10,000, it's still magic. No matter how small a mosquito leg is, it's still meat. I won't despise it. Bai Luo shook his head, dispelling all the thoughts in his heart. He called Ergui to return. Let's go, we are going back. Boom. Just when the two were halfway there, an extremely bright light fell from the sky and landed not far outside the city of Axel. This is... Looking at the scene that seemed like déjà vu, Bai Luo immediately thought of something. Did Sato Kazuma bring Aqua through time? Bai Luo's opinion on Sato Kazuma. How to say it? Quite abstract. Bai Luo doesn't hate Gishu and Zhen. As a protagonist who has no cheats but can lead a few crappy teammates and finally defeat the devil. To be honest, this guy is pretty awesome. Of course, Bai Luo did not go into the original team's ideas. He is now concentrating on how to become stronger. But there is no time to waste on Seeking's daily funny plot. Let Aqua and the devil Kazuma work at the construction site for half a month. This way. So, Bai Luo pulled Erkuro without hesitation and walked away from Aqua and Gishu Kazuma. If Bai Luo rashly approached them at this time, he was really worried that he would be entangled. Especially Aqua. Even with the original favor of the plug-in, Bai Luo didn't dare to get too close to this guy. The two returned to the hotel and took a shower there. People along the way didn't really care about the miserable appearance of the two men covered in blood. As an adventurer, no matter how miserable you are, it's never too bad. However, the two of them did not know that on the other side of the stream, a blonde girl wearing crusader armor was so shocked by the scene before her that her face flushed and her whole body trembled. Huff huff, the girl named Darkness clenched her fists tightly. That man didn't even let his own familiar go. Gah, he hiss. Suddenly, Bai Luo, who was walking towards the hotel, shuddered. Where's Bo? Fine. Bai Luo scratched his head in confusion. For some reason, I feel like I'm being watched by some dirty creature. Is it a ghost? Have no idea. Bai Luo looked around and didn't find anything wrong. He did not use any detection methods because there was no need. Axel is just a nobody, there is no existence that can hurt them. Don't worry about it. If someone really attacks us, Bai Luo said disdainfully, I will let them know how valuable it is to blow up a giant frog with one blow. Chapter 18. Where? The two adventurers I saw yesterday. The next day, a blonde girl named Darkness walked into the Adventurers Guild. She looked around, trying to find Bai Luo and Ergui Luo whom she met yesterday evening, but after a thorough inspection, Darkness did not find any trace of the two. Not here. Could it be that he went to carry out the commission? Darkness thought so. She walked up to Luna and asked about Bai Luo. Inquiring about adventurers' news is not an offensive thing in the Seeking world. Again, there's not so much intrigue here. Are you talking about Mr. Bai Luo and his familiar, Ergian? Bai Luo? What a strange name. Darkness repeated Bai Luo's name several times, and then asked, well, I want to join their team. Can you help me keep an eye on Mr. Bai Luo's movements? That's fine, but wouldn't it be faster to post a notice? I'll post the notice, too. Darkness couldn't help but shudder at the thought of Bai Luo and Ergui's sticky appearance. The girl subconsciously clamped her legs together, and her fair face flushed with a strange blush because of some fantasy. Forward. Seeing Darkness's strange reaction, Luna hesitated, not knowing whether she should find Bai Luo to explain the matter. All right. Luna, next time I see Mr. Bai Luo, I will help you convey it. However, Luna and Darkness didn't know that Bai Luo had already left the Seeking world. As for whether to accept Darkness and let this perverted crusader with masochistic tendencies become a member of the team, this is a question that Bai Luo needs to consider after he returns. Base Axis World. Bo. Two figures appeared on the grass slope. They were Bai Luo and Egian, who had just returned from the Seeking world. New intelligence has been obtained, and detection has begun. Test completed. Gain inherent skills. Melee mastery. Gain inherent skills. All weapons mastery. Gain inherent skills. Mastery of all professions. Obtain special skill. Magic solidification. Get new magic. Explosion magic. Advanced magic. Elemental magic. Healing magic. Magic integration completed. Occupation obtained. Magician. Discover the divine blessing and start to identify. Identification completed. Gain unique ability. Learner. I'm back. Bai Luo sighed as he opened his attribute panel. Bai Luo race, half-blood demon. Existence value, 4015 EP. Magic, energy block production, elf space, identification, explosion magic, advanced healing, etc. Occupation, magician, can use magic power to directly construct magic. Special skills, magic solidification, can convert magic into spirit and flesh for storage. Inherent abilities, adaptability, melee proficiency, all weapon proficiency, all class proficiency, etc. Unique abilities, traveler. Exceptional, leader, captor, learner, can learn other people's general skills and inherent abilities. Follower, eruption, 8031 EP, B rank, marked worlds, Pokemon world, Sashin world. The profession of a magician should be the product of integrating all Seeking magic. In the inherent abilities, there are also many more proficient level melee abilities. In addition, Bai Luo also gained a unique skill called Learner. You can learn other people's general skills and inherent skills. The skills in the basic Axis world can be divided into 4 levels: general skills, inherent skills, additional skills, and unique skills. Above this is the ultimate ability that only the true Demon King can awaken. According to the rules of this world, only beings with special souls can obtain unique skills. In the original work, there is an example of Shogo, who was summoned from another world, gaining a unique skill by killing a girl named Xingzi and using her soul as a sacrifice. Only a special soul from another world can be exchanged for a unique skill. It can be seen that unique skills are rare. Even the cute king only had 2 unique skills at the beginning, Great Sage and Predator. I gained a lot from this journey through the Seeking world. In just one day, he was able to gain so many benefits. Bai Luo felt more and more the strength of the extraordinary traveler. Just as Bai Luo was immersed in the changes in the attribute panel, Ergui's exclamation interrupted his thoughts. Bai Luo. Following Ergui's line of sight, Bai Luo's pupils shrank slightly. What is this? Our camp. Looking at the mess in front of him, especially the camp that should have completed its basic construction but was now only in ruins, Erguian, who had no idea what was going on, was stunned. Who did it? Peng Peng was a little angry. Although the camp is very simple, it was built up bit by bit by Bai Luo. It's their hard work. The guy who ruined Bai Luo's sweat. At this moment, Ergi Luo only wanted to summon out the Thornvine stick and beat the opponent up. Calm down. Bai Luo calmed down the angry Ergui, and the 2 of them cautiously went forward to investigate. These traces should have been left by some giant insects. Bai Luo leaned over and noticed the footprints left on the soil. Is it the companion of the insect monster who came to visit? Sure enough, the stench of that insect monster still lingered in the air. There's no doubt about it, it's them. Hateful. Peng Peng hates big bugs. Ergui felt very aggrieved, but more of it was heartache for this camp that had been built with so much difficulty. Okay, don't be angry. Bai Luo smiled and stroked the little guy's head, comforting him. At least we escaped the attack of the insect monster, right? And this incident also reminded us. This place is not safe, Bai Luo said. What should we do then? Either we change places and find a new camp, Bai Luo said, or we need to find the nest of those insects and destroy them at the source. How can I allow others to snore on my bed? If there are intelligent demons who can communicate next to the camp, Bai Luo is not a bloodthirsty person and would be happy to communicate with them and live in peace. But these insect monsters, not to mention whether they have brains, they have no intention of communicating with Bai Luo at all. As soon as they came up, the multi-legged spider monster treated the 2 of them as food. This was even more true for the following attacks, which were aimed entirely at devouring Bai Luo and Ergi Long. In this case, Bai Luo will not hold back. Either don't take action, or if you do, you must root out the weeds completely and leave no one alive. Chapter 19. What do you think we should do? Yan Yan listens to Bai Luo. She still knew that Yan Yan was a fool. As for Pokemon, it's not shameful to listen to the trainer's instructions. I'd better be cautious. Bai Luo was just speaking casually, he really didn't expect this little fool, Peng Peng, to have any insights. Cautious. Ah. Bai Luo nodded and said, I am also very angry about the destruction of the camp. I want to go directly to their door and kill all those disgusting bugs. But we don't know how many there are, nor do we know the fighting power of the strongest among the bug monsters. It's not wise to go there rashly. Hearing Bai Luo say this, Yan felt a little guilty. It would be better if Yan Yan could be more powerful. In this way, Bai Luo wouldn't feel so aggrieved. It was obvious that they were the ones being bullied, but in the end they had to swallow their anger. Yan Yan is already very good. Bai Luo was telling the truth. With Yan's B-level rating, even A-level monsters might not be her match if a real fight broke out. With such strength, it would definitely be at the top of the food chain in the Jura Forest. Only those A-level monsters that have received a disaster rating are eligible to be avoided by the evil spirit. Let's do this. Bai Luo made up his mind and said, no matter what, we have to find the source of these insect monsters and determine the distance between their base camp and us. Whether it is to find a new base or to better deal with the attacks of insect monsters. It is crucial to determine the target location. In addition, Bai Luo also set his sights on these insect monsters. Before becoming a demon king, Luo's unique skill grower has an acceleration plug-in that requires a large number of monsters as food. Defeating or killing them can allow the to grow quickly. I don't know how many bug monsters there are, but they are definitely not few. If we can catch them all, the existence value of may exceed 10,000 and directly achieve A-level evaluation. With the A-rated Yan by his side, Bai Luo's safety in the Jura Forest is completely guaranteed. Similarly, this will also give Bai Luo more choices when traveling to other worlds. So, Bai Luo told Yan his plan. To put it simply, we need to find their lair first, and then judge their strength. If you can defeat them, then just treat them as wild monsters and turn them all into your experience points. If we can't beat them, let's leave first. As the saying goes, as long as the mountains remain, there will be no shortage of firewood. We are not cowards, but a strategic retreat. We'll come back when you break through to A-level, Bai Luo said, and then we'll kill him. Yan is not afraid of fighting. Yan Yan listens to Bai Luo. Haha. Bai Luo couldn't help but smile. He patted Yan's little head, then squatted down and used the ranger's skill tracking. The next moment, with Bai Luo as the center, the magic power turned into layers of ripples and spread in all directions. Trees, grass, rocks. A lot of information emerged in Bai Luo's mind. At this moment, Bai Luo only felt that he was immersed in a grey and white world. And he was searching for traces of everything in a carpet-like manner with some kind of perception. Found it. 3 minutes later, feeling the information transmitted back by the skill, Bai Luo opened his eyes. His face looked a little strange. What's wrong, Bai Luo? There is a group of auras approaching the insect nest. Bai Luo said this and raised his hand to cast several magic spells. Disappeared breath cover erase traces. After 3 consecutive seeking hunter skills were cast, Bai Luo called out to Yan, let's go over and take a look. Bo. In this way, Bai Luo and Long concealed their breath and followed the traces left by the insect monster. The two walked for about half an hour. At their speed, they traveled at least 200 kilometers along the way. Bai Luo, it smells like bugs. Yan's nose twitched twice. There is another smell I haven't smelled before. I wonder what kind of monster it is. Bang! Bloody! Squeak, squeak, squeak. Bai Luo's sense of smell was not as sensitive as Yan's, but he also heard the sound of fighting coming from the front. The bugs are fighting someone. It looks like we're not the only ones being attacked by these bugs in the forest. Bai Luo was very cautious and did not reveal his whereabouts immediately. Yan even displayed the lurking skills she had acquired on Ghost Mountain. The two of them silently jumped onto the treetops and, with the cover of the leaves, looked at the two sides in the distance where a fierce conflict was taking place. There were more than 30 tall humanoid creatures. They had strong physiques, horns on their foreheads, and their skin was different from that of humans, with purple, red, green and other colors. Big Ghost Tribe. Almost immediately, Bai Luo recognized the identities of these humanoid monsters. These humanoid monsters that were fighting the insect monsters were actually B-level monsters living deep in the Jura Forest, the Great Demon Clan. Not only that, Bai Luo's eyes fell on the red ghost wielding a blade, and the purple-skinned, one-horned female ghost holding a long sword high. Benimaru, is Shin still here? The images of the two people are not the same as those in the animation that Bai Luo watched, but they are very similar. This is normal. The two have not yet been given names by Rimuru and are still in the form of the Great Demon Clan. Moreover, there will definitely be differences in painting style when converting from the two-dimensional to the three-dimensional. The ones fighting the bug monsters are the Big Demon Tribe. Looking at the corpses of the big ghosts lying on the ground, Bai Luo quickly analyzed the situation. It is estimated that these insect monsters attacked the village of the big ghosts, and then the big ghosts sent a team to find the insect monster's nest, and finally they did it. But Bai Luo was a little surprised. Is there such a passage in the original book? Or is it that my appearance has brought about a butterfly effect? Bai Luo wasn't sure which one it was. He didn't think much about it, but focused on the current situation. There are at least 500 insect monsters down there. There are over 300 C-class monsters, over 100 C-plus class monsters, and dozens of B-class monsters. Looking at the dozen or so broken corpses of the Big Ghost Clan that had fallen, it was obvious that the Big Ghost Clan was at a disadvantage in this confrontation. With so many insect monsters besieging 40 large ghost tribes, it's no wonder there were such heavy losses. Bai Luo intends to intervene in this battle and by the way come into contact with the Big Ghost Tribe. He looked at Ergian, wondering whether he should let Yunyan take action. Chapter 20. Boom. Seeing more and more insect monsters surrounding him from afar, Bai Luo hesitated. Of course, they are characters in the anime, and the big demons tend to be generous, so saving them will definitely do more good than harm. Can we let Erguiyan take the risk to join the battle? Bo. Suddenly, Bai Luo felt his sleeve being pulled. He lowered his head and saw that Ergui's eyes were full of fighting spirit. You want to fight? Bo. Ergian said that he felt the breath of the same kind from the Big Ghost Tribe. Similar. I see. Bai Luo understood that after the transformation of the base axis world, the evil spirit became a ghost species. According to Bai Luo's guess, this ghost species should be an isotopic variant of the Big Ghost Clan. The lonely Ergian suddenly met a fellow with a similar aura, and the little guy naturally wanted to help. Good. Bai Luo quickly made a plan. Don't linger in the battle, get them out of the battle circle as soon as possible, I will provide you with support from the rear. Bo. Ergian nodded vigorously and then jumped out of the tree. At the same time, the big ghosts who were surrounded by insect monsters had fallen into a not very good situation. Damn it! These disgusting bugs, there must be something behind them directing them. The red-haired red demon chopped off the centipede-shaped insect monster's head with a single blow, and before the other monster could twist its body wildly, he quickly retreated and returned to his companions. That thing is hiding underground. We can't force it to come out. The blue-skinned big ghosts were agile and filled in the gaps when their companions were in danger many times, thus avoiding greater casualties. There were 40 people in their team, but now there are only 28 left. This means that 12 members of the tribe have died here. For a large ghost village with a total population of no more than 300 people, the death of 12 young and strong warriors is definitely a huge loss. Although every member of the Great Ghost Clan is a soldier, there are only about 200 who can reach B-level combat power. Those children and old people cannot reach B-level, and can only exert C and level combat power at best. Of course, reviews are just reviews. Magic element is the transition of monster's life level. However, a huge amount of magic energy does not mean that the monster's combat power is stronger. Take Ergian as an example. The eruption has only 8,000 plus magic points, which puts it in the late B-level among B-level monsters. Among the great demons present, the amount of magic energy of Benimaru, Sui, Shin, and Shana is only about 1,000 to 2,000 less than that of eruption. However, how big is the gap in combat power between the two sides? When this large group of 40 demons with an average B-level goes up against the current Ergian, it will most likely be a one-sided massacre. This is the difference in skill pool depth. Eruption has at least 30 magics that are derived from Pokemon moves. There are melee, ranged, defense, recovery, support and changes. And this is not counting her unique skill as a destroyer. If a real fight breaks out, Ergilong will use his seed bomb to attack, and the big ghosts will have no choice but to avoid it. Otherwise, once hit, you will be crippled if not killed. A monster with unique skills means it has the potential to become a special A-level monster. This is the value of the unique skill, which can be called the seed of the devil. Who the purple-haired one-horned female ghost is Shin in the original novel. While protecting the pink-haired ghost girl, she swung her sword and chopped down a beetle-shaped insect monster. How are you? Seeing this, Shana quickly released fire magic, turning it into a huge fireball. Brother, I have enough magic power left to perform a large-scale illusion. As the village's shrine maiden, Shana is one of the few great demons who possesses the ability to cast spells. She is protected by everyone in the rear, and given support and treatment. There are too many. Shin gnashed her teeth and said, it seems like these stink bugs are endless. They keep popping up in batches. We can't delay this any longer. Although he felt very frustrated, Hung Guan knew in his heart that it was impossible to break through the defense of the insect nest with the current manpower. Only after they return to the village, report the situation here, and then lead more tribesmen, will they have a chance to eradicate this cancer near the village. Careful. At this moment, Shin suddenly pulled Shana to her side. It turned out that in just a short while, a small insect monster with a ferocious appearance like a mosquito actually crossed the defense line of the crowd and rushed to Zhu Cai's side. If Shin hadn't acted in time, the giant mosquito's tail needle would have pierced Shana's heart. Go to hell! Without any hesitation, Shin swung the machete in his hand vigorously and successfully cut the giant mosquito in half. Ah! However, Shin didn't expect that the insect monster that broke through the defense line would set up one. Just as she killed the giant mosquito and her old strength was gone before new strength was generated, a mantis-like insect monster instantly injured several of its companions and attacked the two women. Hateful! Seeing that Shana was in danger again, Shin made up her mind instantly and held the girl in her arms. Puff! The next moment, the sharp blade fell, breaking the flesh and blood, and the white spine was faintly visible. Shin only felt a piercing pain. She wanted to fight back, but the injury to her spine made her feel weak all over and she almost couldn't hold the sword in her hand. Treatment, I will treat you right away. Shana tightly covered Shin's wound with her hands, and light green healing magic bloomed from her hands. However, the mantis-shaped insect monster was already very close, and Hung Guan and others had no time to reach the two women before the pair of sharp blades fell. Squeak, squeak, squeak! The emerald green insect blades continued to grow larger in her sight, and all Shana could do was to use all her strength to push her friend away. At least this way one of them can survive. No. Shin prostrated herself on the ground, and could only watch Shana die in front of her. A strong sense of fear enveloped the ghost girl. Unfortunately, she couldn't do anything. Is that the end? Zhu Cai has already felt the breath of death, and she is not afraid of death. However, the girl was worried about her brother and best friend, afraid that they would be wiped out here. Bo. However, the expected sharp pain through the heart did not come. Instead, there was a clear and pleasant sound, like the strange sound of a nightingale singing. Chapter 21. Kakakakaka. Suddenly opening her eyes, Shana saw a scene she had never imagined in her life. I saw a figure appear in front of her and Shin at some point. The other person was very short, holding a stick made of green vines in his hand. And it was this stick that now stood like a natural barrier between the two women and the sharp blade of the insect monster. The attack was blocked. Shana and Shin could hardly believe what they were seeing. The insect blade was so sharp and huge, but it couldn't do anything to a mere wooden stick. No. Not only can't I do anything about it. Crack! I saw that on the insect blade, fine cracks were extending towards the limbs of the mantis-shaped insect monster. You, who are? Hongwan and others also saw this scene. They didn't know the origins of Ergian, and could only judge their relationship from each other's breath. Ghost Clan. She is also a ghost like them. Yan Yan, we have arrived at the battlefield. What? The next moment, amid the astonishment of the big ghosts, an emerald green mace, wrapped in surging magic power, instantly smashed the huge mantis blocking their way. Yes, not knock it away, but smash it directly. Not only that. The thorn vine stick continued to move forward with unabated force. After crushing the mantis monster, it continued to sweep forward, sweeping away the 5 or 6 insect monsters that were blocking Hungguan and the two girls. Boom! The wind was howling wildly, making the ghosts' clothes rustle. The flying sand and dust blocked their vision, causing them to subconsciously take a defensive stance to avoid sudden attacks. Hoo bloody! However, the expected attack did not come. Instead, there were figures constantly shuttling back and forth on the battlefield, and the painful howls of insect monsters coming from all directions. Puff! With one hit from the stick, the insect monster's body was immediately torn into pieces. Erotica avoided the disgusting splash of body fluids, looked around, and then took a step forward. In an instant, green fluorescence swayed in the wind, and a large amount of green grass broke through the ground. What's going on? This is... My body seems to be recovering. Healing? Someone is casting healing spell on us. At that moment, all the big ghosts on the battlefield, without exception, received the blessing of the green grass field and began to slowly recover from their injuries. Hiss, my back is itchy. Also healed was Shen, who had injured her spine. Who is she? Shen and Shana looked forward at the same time. As the smoke gradually dissipated, Ergian, who looked like a little girl, was standing on the head of a fallen scorpion-shaped insect monster, overlooking the group of big ghosts below. She wore a green grass ghost mask on her face, and behind her were 3 masks suspended in the shape of a Hyuxia character, one in blue, one in grey, and one in red. These masks seem to be carved from gems. Each one is as exquisite as a work of art and sparkles in the sun. Unlike when it was still a Pokémon, the ability of Face Shine has undergone tremendous changes after the transformation. The most obvious point is that eruption is no longer limited to the changes of one mask. She can summon 4 masks at the same time, and use one of them as the core to form a quadruple ghost mask, and then gain the bonus of 4 full masks. Drink. Then, under the control of Ergui, the original grass-type energy began to flow to the well mask, stove mask, and foundation stone mask. Water, fire, rock, and grass, the 4 energies gathered around Ergilong, turning the entire battlefield into her own stage. Ghost tribe. And he's still a little kid. The aura of the evil spirit gave Shana and Shen a sense of closeness. But the problem is that Ergilong is too short. In front of the big ghosts who are generally close to 2 meters tall, Ergian, who is only a little over 1 meter tall, is not even a child. But the power displayed by the evil spirit, especially the huge amount of magic she exuded, silently telling them how powerful she was. I'm here to help. Eruption summoned a thorn vine staff and displayed a dual-wielding stance. Help! Hung Guan also noticed Ergian. He was about to ask, but the other party had already rushed out again. Wait a moment. He wanted to call out to Ergian, but Ergian's movements were too fast. With the blessing of 4 ghost masks and the amplification from Bai Luo's leader, Ergui Luo's strength has been greatly enhanced. B-level magic is her foundation. After activating the ghost face state, Eruption can even confront B and level monsters head-on. If combined with Bai Luo's leader, the magic to support his followers, and the unique skills of the destroyer that the evil spirit has, even if it is A-level, Ergian may not be without hope of victory. So strong. Therefore, what was presented to the group of big ghosts was a crushing scene like a landslide. What level of monster is she? This kind of power. Could it be the legendary ghost? Although Ergian is so petite, each of her attacks can cause earth-shattering destruction. Destroyer. No matter what kind of existence it is, as long as the attack hits it, it will be destroyed. Be it weapons or armor. Unless you also have a unique skill that is equivalent to that of destroyer. Otherwise, this is a rule-based mechanism judgment. Hit, destroy. Ignore the level of defense. Boom. In midair, Eruption brandished 2 thorny vine sticks, and its whole body kept spinning like a horizontal tornado, crushing the surrounding insect monsters into pieces. The amazing fighting power and explosive output really dropped the jaws of all the big ghosts present. Hiss, what a domineering fighting style. It's so small, but what's with this strange strength? It's a huge bug with such a thick shell, but it only takes 1 stick. The big ghosts, who had never seen such a plug-in-like ability as unique skills, were completely shocked by the reincarnation from Ergian. Young master, what should we do? The future Sui is now just a blue-skinned ghost from the Great Ghost Clan who has undergone ninja training. The clan members have gathered, and the retreat route has been opened by that little girl just now. When it comes to Urkuro, Sui feels as if his worldview has been greatly impacted. So fierce. This destructive power, this unstoppable posture. This is the violence that ghosts should have. Chapter 22. We can't let our comrades who have come out to help others fight alone. Of course, Hung Guan couldn't just retreat like that. He had to at least go with Kuro. Boom! But before he could give a specific order, the ground in front of him began to shake. The mud collapsed, revealing the pits hidden underneath. The next moment, dense swarms of insect monsters emerged from the darkness like a tide. FK. The terrifying number of them made Bai Luo, who was standing far away, twitch his lips slightly. What on earth are these? Aren't there too many? With just this one sweep, Bai Luo saw no less than 5,000 insect monsters. It is conceivable that there must be more underground. Let's talk about levels according to Bai Luo's identification. The overall strength of these insect monsters is not as good as the first batch they encountered, and their size is also much smaller. Most of them are D grade, C grade accounts for 20% of the total, and there are still many C grades, and C and grade is around 100. Bai Luo ignored the D-level monsters. The experience gained by a grower cannot be too much lower than the level of the eruption. Generally speaking, if a monster's magic element is lower than C level, even if the evil spirit kills it, its existence value will not be increased. So don't be fooled by the fact that there are a lot of insect monsters here. Only 20%, or about 1,000 heads, can be considered as food intake. Even so, if we take down this batch, I can at least grow into a true A-level monster. According to the mechanism of the Axis world, the Ergian that reaches A level and receives a disaster rating has a high probability of completing evolution and becoming a more powerful ghost clan. Were we going to retreat? Bai Luo didn't take those D-level insect monsters seriously. Without C-level skills, you may not even be able to break through the defense of the evil spirit. More importantly, defeat one C-level monster and gain 4 existence points. Defeat C-level monsters x2, gain 3 existence points. Defeat one C and level monster and gain 8 existence points. Ever since Erlang joined the battlefield, every time she defeats an enemy, she will receive a gift of existence value. In just about 10 minutes, the existence value of Ergian has increased from the original 8,000 plus to 8,500 plus. At this rate, there are still some remaining insect monsters. Bai Luo thought to himself, with more than 1,000 C-level insect monsters, it is certain that Ergian will break through 10,000 existence value and obtain an A-level evaluation, right? Grade A is a watershed. There is a qualitative gap between below Grade A and Grade A. Even the most common A-rank monster can fight against a large demon village of 300 people on its own. Done. Bai Luo made up his mind that he would not let go of the fat meat that was about to be in his hands. Yan Yan. Bai Luo. Through the contact with the family, Ergian heard Bai Luo's voice. Can you still fight? Peng Peng, I'm not tired at all. Ergui Yan was full of energy and continued to beat the big bugs one by one. Yan Yan can fight them like this all day long. Very good, you are also the captain of the United States. Of course, this is just a joke. In fact, the hidden characteristics of the Ghost Clan are their amazing physical fitness and bottomless physical strength. Especially now, as Ergian continued to kill enemies, her growth talent was madly absorbing nutrients and turning them into her magic elements. According to the common sense of the Axis world, the larger the magic element, the more energy the individual has. Therefore, after this round of battle, Ergilong did not consume much magic power and physical strength. On the contrary, due to the sudden increase in magic power, her condition was better than ever before. I see. So. Upon learning of Ergui's current condition, Bai Luo immediately used amplification magic. My friends from the Great Ghost Clan, Ergui and I are here to help you. This sound. On the battlefield, the big ghosts gathered together, led by Hung Guan, and looked up to find the source of the sound. Is the Ergian he's talking about the powerful and terrifying little guy? So her name is Ergian. What a strange name. No, did she have a name? That child is actually a named monster. Ignoring the surprise and exclamations of his fellow tribesmen, Hong Wang quietly waited for Bai Luo's next words. Bai Luo did not intend to directly intervene in the battlefield. He positioned himself as a summoner and mage standing in the back row. There was no reason for him to be surrounded by the enemy. That would be too stupid. Next, I will release powerful magic at the location of the insect nest to force all the insect monsters below out. If the hive's strength is beyond imagination, I will order the Uruk-York to retreat immediately. You two, leave the battlefield with eruption. Bai Luo's plan was simple and clear, and Hong Wang quickly understood what he meant. The strength of the hive's troops is unknown, and its combat power is unknown. If Bai Luo blew up tens of thousands of insect monsters, if they stayed, they would be waiting to die. The right thing to do was to return to the village immediately to ask for help. On the other hand, if the hive's forces were not as numerous as Bai Luo imagined, then there is no need for the big ghost tribe. Bai Luo, I have General Ergui, who can defeat thousands of troops. Everyone. Without much hesitation, Benimaru made a decision, follow the command of the owner of the voice. Shana is his sister and Shen is his childhood sweetheart. The lives of the two women were saved by Ergian. Hung Guan has no way to repay this life-saving favor. Moreover, abandoning the benefactor who fought so hard and running away by himself would simply bring shame to their ghost clan. Not bad. In the distance, Bai Luo watched Hong Guan and others change their formation, secretly admiring their courage. Let's get started. So, Bai Luo no longer cared about Hong Guan and the others. He slowly raised his hands and gathered all the magic power in his body into them. After this wave of massacre by Ergilong, Bai Luo's magic element also broke through the 4,500 mark. And with his current magical power, he has obviously reached the standard of performing Suqing's strongest magic. What is Suqing's most powerful magic? Is there any need to ask? Of course it's the signature magic of our mentally ill little crimson demon Loli Huai. The most advanced explosion magic explosion. In Sor no Haru, every time Huai levels up, she will reallocate the skill points she gets to explosion magic. This caused Huai's explosion magic to continuously change into a small nuclear bomb. Bai Luo's explosion magic has not received any points and is still at level 1. But after returning to the Axis world, the profession he obtained, called magician, brought him endless possibilities. The magic power that can be manipulated freely stirs the wind in the atmosphere, the ubiquitous elements, earth, water, wind, fire, light, darkness, and even time and space. Explosion magic, although called explosion, is not actually fire magic. Its true form should be called destruction magic. By absorbing, compressing, and decomposing the surrounding magical elements, and then instantly releasing horrific destruction that is enough to destroy the world. Just like Bai Luo is now. When he used the magician's ability, he deeply analyzed the explosion magic. What you get is no longer just a skill like a shortcut key, but the essence of this power. A large amount of magic power was consumed, but because of the magician, new magic power was replenished into Bai Luo's body and then continued to be consumed. This cycle repeats itself over and over again, causing Bai Luo to invest more and more energy into this magic. What is going on? The noise caused by the massive traction of magic elements caused the space within a radius of several kilometers centered on Bai Luo to become extremely depressing. This feeling caused the big demons, led by Shana, to have a huge sense of crisis from the bottom of their hearts. Escape. Run away. The monster's instinct was warning them to get away from here immediately. This kind of magic. Shana is also a spellcaster, so she can feel the fluctuations in the atmosphere more clearly than Shen, Benimaru, and others who are warriors. In her eyes, the direction where Bai Luo was located seemed to be a bottomless dark abyss. The abyss devours everything, like a black sun, covering the sky and making the hearts of all things dusty. Buzz buzz buzz, colorful magic particles gathered towards Bai Luo's palm, forming long, colorful rivers. The trees swayed, the sky grew darker, and a huge ring of stars slowly emerged above everyone's heads. Then, there was a huge crimson magic circle. But, it's not over yet. The second, third, fourth. Dozens of magic circles, one within the other, built up a towering tower that pierced the sky, as if roaring and declaring war on the gods. Chapter 23. Gurgle. The big demons such as Benimaru, Shen, and Sui couldn't help swallowing. They stared blankly at the doomsday-like scene in the sky, and for a moment they even forgot about the battle with the insect monster. Fortunately, the insect monster has retreated. Even the brainless monster realized the approaching danger at this moment. They are returning to the hive and using the swarm of insects tactics to form a wall of insects above the hive, in an attempt to block the impending divine punishment in this way. Get away from the hive, quickly. It was also at this time that Bai Luo's voice once again rang in the ears of the ghost tribe. This time, they didn't hesitate at all. Each of them wished they had an extra leg and tried their best to run away from the insect nest that was locked by countless magic circles. Where's Bo? Ergian smacked the insect monster that wanted to harass him away with a stick, and also followed the footsteps of the big ghost tribe. As for Bai Luo, he was trying his best to control the explosion magic and slow down its descent so that the great demon clan and the eruption would have more time to move away from the center of the explosion. At the same time, somewhere in the Jura Forest, a beautiful elf-like girl with green hair opened her eyes. The spirits of the forest are afraid. She subconsciously looked towards a certain direction in the forest. What happened? There, various elemental elves are frantically gathering towards a certain place. The girl's name is Taurine, and she is a member of the high-ranking tree people who protect the forest. Magic. As the embodiment of this forest, Taurine can clearly feel every blade of grass and every tree here, and get information feedback from them. However, this time, Taurine was completely confused. Messy. Noisier than ever. The trees, flowers, and plants in the forest seemed to have gone crazy, chirping and making a lot of noise. One said, "The forest is going to be destroyed," and the other said, "It's a disaster, it's so terrible." For a moment, Taurine was unable to extract a complete answer from it. The only thing she was sure of was that the culprit that caused all this to happen was a kind of magic she had never seen before. What kind of magic can mobilize so many elements? Taurine no longer hesitated and immediately used the tree elf's teleportation skill. Her body turned into fluorescent dots and disappeared. This is... When Taurine condensed her body again, what came into view was the tall tower made up of magic circles that soared into the sky. Hundreds and thousands of magic circles simply stunned Taurine. What? It's not like she hasn't seen powerful magic before. But, what kind of magic could be so complicated? Other people's magic circles are decorated with patterns. As for Bai Luo's, it was a great thing. He used the magic circle to arrange complex patterns. Who is casting such terrible magic? Taurine quickly locked onto Bai Luo, who was standing on the tree and trying to control his magic so that it would not get out of control. Human. No, that's not right. Taurine noticed Bai Luo's eyes. The golden pupils were not something humans could have. Hybrid? A hybrid of human and demon, but more like a demon. She stopped short of defining Bai Luo as a forest destroyer. In fact, compared to Bai Luo, those insect monsters that appeared out of nowhere recently are the real dirty things that should be eliminated. And now, the target of Bai Luo's attack is the insect monster defined as the bad guy by the tree elves. In this case, Taurine would have even less reason to stop Bai Luo. Have they all retreated? Bo. Ergian appeared beside Bai Luo and reported to him the location of the big ghost tribe. Well, thank you for your hard work. Now. Seeing that Erguian had returned, Bai Luo began to loosen control of the explosion magic. Let's watch a grand fireworks display. The most advanced explosion magic, explosion. Call. When Bai Luo's hand fell, heaven and earth fell silent. The forest, sky, earth, and the surrounding flowers, plants, and trees all fell into a dead silence at this moment. The colors were stripped away, leaving only endless blankness and nothingness, as well as the unimaginable depth that was enough to overturn everything. Boom! A huge mushroom cloud rose in the distance. With the insect nest as the center, everything within a radius of 1 kilometer was vaporized in an instant. The earth trembled as if the sky was collapsing, and the terrifying shock wave spread in all directions. Both the armed nation of Daogang in the north and the magic dynasty of Sarian in the south felt the vibrations coming from the Jura Forest soon after. For a time, high-level officials from various countries rushed to tell each other, and soon the news reached the ears of the Dwarf King and the Queen of Salian. Squeak, squeak, squeak. However, at this moment, Bai Luo was obviously unaware of the huge turmoil his attack had caused. He was now staring at the insect nest in the distance. I saw that the layers of insect walls had no effect at all. Faced with this doomsday-like scene, the insect monsters could only scream as they were evaporated by the explosion magic. Bai Luo didn't know what was going on down there. But after such a magical bombardment, the insect monsters will inevitably be severely damaged. Those below level C will not even have the ability to resist and will be turned into ashes. With C-level vitality, even if he survived the explosion magic, he would only have 1 breath left. Only those insect monsters that reach B-level or even B-level can survive. Of course, even a B-level monster was severely damaged and only 1/10 of its strength remained. Squeaky. Standing in front of Bai Luo and shielding him from the aftermath, Erguiyan's eyes were sparkling, and it was almost as if worship was written all over his face. Really? Bai Luo was also greatly shocked by the attack he had made. It is worthy of being Suqing's strongest explosion magic. It really lives up to its reputation. Inexplicably, Bai Luo began to understand Hui Hui a little. There's nothing that a shot of explosion magic can't solve. If so, give it another shot. But my explosion magic seems to be very different from Megaman's. This can be considered another kind of magic, right? Compared to the explosion magic that Hui cast in the Seeking world, the one cast by Bai Luo is even more terrifying. The center of the explosion alone reached 1.2 kilometers. As for the affected area, it has even reached the large cities of the human kingdom in the Axis world. There is no doubt that if this magic falls on the human kingdom, the result was no less than wiping a city and the tens or millions of people living in it off the map. Chapter 24. According to the monster destruction level, Bai Luo used all his strength and spent nearly a quarter of an hour to condense the explosive magic, which has reached the level of special A level, which can instantly release all magic power. If you can't understand it, you can think of Bai Luo's explosive magic as being equivalent to the damage caused by the self-detonation of a special A-level monster. A special A-level monster, with over 100,000 magic elements, is a power far beyond what Bai Luo can imagine now. However, with the ultimate operation of explosion magic, with his C-end level foundation, Bai Luo managed to accomplish such an incredible thing. This shows the potential of explosion magic and the huge bonus brought by the magician profession. Hurry up now! So many monsters that have lost their ability to fight are simply the perfect food for eruption. Bo! Without Bai Luo's command, eruption seized the opportunity and directly used area magic, Pokemon moves. Almost at the same time, seed bombs and leaf storms swept across the battlefield, and energy balls fell like raindrops, smashing the crippled insect monsters into pieces. Defeat 15 C-end level monsters and gain 120 existence points. Defeat 8 B-level monsters and gain 160 existence points. Defeat 4 B-level monsters and gain 400 existence points. The notification sound of gaining a large amount of magic elements was like the most beautiful music in the world, and Bai Luo almost couldn't help laughing out loud. The existence value of individual name evil reaches 10,000, triggering evolution. Reaching an existence value of 10,000 so quickly was somewhat beyond Bai Luo's expectations. But what surprised Bai Luo even more was the prompt called evolution triggered by the evil spirit. As a Pokemon, Uruko is already in its final form and cannot evolve again. So, the evolution here should be the transformation of the demons into higher level demons. I saw Ergilong on the battlefield, with a dazzling light all over his body. Where's Bo? The little guy was a little overwhelmed. Fortunately, Bai Luo sent a message as soon as possible and told her the mechanism of monster evolution. Is the going to evolve? Every Pokemon has expectations for evolution. Ergilong also wanted to know what he would look like after evolving. Evolution completed. Individual name, Evil Spirit, evolved from Demon Spirit to Demon Human Bo. Looking at Ergilong again, I saw that the little guy who was originally only 1.2 meters tall has now grown to over 1.5 meters tall. In terms of appearance, the original orange face has disappeared, replaced by a slightly childish white face. The green cloak turned into an emerald kimono, and the girl's hands were hidden under the wide cuffs. She had long light green hair, and the wooden clogs under her legs wrapped in black silk stockings made a crisp clacking sound as she ran towards Bai Luo. Bai Luo, Peng Peng has grown a lot bigger. Yan blinked his beautiful pair of light golden eyes, and the star patterns in them sparkled as if they had endless magic power, attracting Bai Luo's attention. This is the evolution of monsters. Now, Yan has become a demon. Bai Luo caressed Ergui's head lovingly, and the latter immediately showed a comfortable look. At the same time, Bai Luo opened the attribute panel of Ergilong. Evil Spirit Contractor, Bai Luo Race, Devil Existence Value, 12,000, A-Level, Magic, Pokemon Moves, Identification Professional Skills, Full Mastery of Melee Combat, including Swordsman, Knight, Spearman, Cross Swordsman, Hunter, Thief and other professional skills, Inherent Abilities, Element Super Absorption, Ability Super Enhancement, Super Speed Regeneration. Additional skills, Face Reflection, release your own power and summon ghost faces with different attributes. Special abilities, Magic Solidification, Explosion Magic, Pseudo-Nuclear Attack Magic that condenses a large amount of magic power, Ghost Transformation, All-Round Attribute Improvement, Unique Skills, Destroyer, Grower. The race has become a ghost race. There is nothing much to say about this. According to the setting of the basic Axis world, the Ghost Clan and the Big Ghost Clan are at the same stage, both are B-level demons. The first evolution will turn it into an A-level ghost species, and then into a special A-level ghost king or demon ghost. The difference between the Ghost King and the Demon Ghost is like the difference between a warrior and a magician. The former is good at melee combat, while the latter is good at magic. They are essentially at the same level. As the Ghost King and the Demon King continue to grow stronger, they will be awarded the title of Demon King and be recognized by the voice of the world, qualifying to evolve into true Demon Kings. In this way, as long as enough souls are collected, they can transform into a Demon King and become a Ghost God. Of course, this process is quite difficult. Especially someone like Eruption. Because she is Bai Luo's follower, she cannot awaken on her own. Bai Luo needs to collect souls and then give them to Ergian so that she can become the true Demon King. Identification and melee skills. These two abilities were not originally possessed by Ergian, but now they appear. Is it because of me? Bai Luo remembered that in the original work, there was a setting that after Rimuru named the monsters under his command, the monsters would randomly inherit the abilities of the cute king. This should be the case with S situation. During the evolution process, it inherited some of my abilities. Bai Luo thought to himself, identification skills can help Lulu better understand his opponent. Saking's full mastery of melee skills will make Lulu, who is already good at melee combat, even more powerful. Super absorption of elements, super enhancement of abilities, super fast regeneration. Super absorption and super enhancement are the advanced stages of element absorption and ability enhancement, allowing to have higher magic resistance and faster magic absorption efficiency. The super strengthening of the ability should be derived from the characteristics of not admitting defeat. As for the subsequent magic element solidification and super speed regeneration, there is no need to say much about super speed regeneration. It is a self-recovery ability that is even more terrifying than that of the Big Ghost Clan. According to the feedback obtained from the identification skill, super speed regeneration has the characteristic that it will not be killed unless the head is chopped off. In addition, it has powerful functions such as regeneration of severed limbs and repair of internal organs. Magic essence solidification, probably like me, can transform magic essence into various basic attributes in the form of levels. The relationship between the magic elements in the Axis world and the monsters is more like the relationship between a pool and the water in it. Pool water does not reinforce the pool. So an individual with 100,000 magic elements is against an individual with 10 million magic elements. The difference in physical strength between the two is not as exaggerated as imagined. On the other hand, with the ability of magic solidification, it will be possible for a level 50 to fight a level 100. Even if the magic power of a level 100 monster is exhausted, its basic attributes are still beyond the reach of a mere level 50 scum. Chapter 25. With the exclusive skill of magic solidification. As long as Bai Luo and Peng Peng continue to increase their magic essence, their physical strength will continue to increase, making the magic essence proportional to their physical strength. The last part is explosion magic and demon transformation. In the Axis world, explosion magic is defined as nuclear strike magic. The so-called nuclear attack magic refers to magic that has the destructive power of a nuclear weapon. It is a kind of assessment of the level of magic destructiveness by the people in the Axis world. The explosive magic that Bai Luo had previously cast, which consumed a great deal of magic power and time, belonged to the category of small nuclear attack magic. Of course, because the world levels are different. The soil, stones, and gravity of the Axis world are far superior to those of other worlds. Therefore, if it can cause nuclear explosion-like destruction in the Axis world, it is possible to sink continents or even destroy planets in other worlds. Has Ryu also mastered this kind of large-scale destructive technique? Bai Luo was quite pleased about this. There's no way, his attributes are ultimately no match for Ergui's. Although Ergi Luo does not have the passive blessing of Bai Luo's magic profession, his A-level magic reserve is far more powerful than Bai Luo's current one. It is conceivable that if the current eruption were to cast explosive magic, the power would be terrifying. Yan Yan. Where's Bo? What does it look like to become a ghost? Bai Luo was quite interested in this, so he asked Ergui to perform the transformation into a ghost. The little guy was seen bursting with fierce magic power. The next moment, Ergui's body began to swell, from a small stature of less than 1.4 meters to a height of 1.8 meters. Not only that, the sharp horns, the fierce eyes, and the body that looks slender but still exudes explosive power, all illustrate how terrifying Ergian is in this state. If the previous eruption was a cute little loli, then, Ergian, who had fully transformed into a ghost, became a beautiful queen with an impressive figure. Even Bai Luo, who had always treated Ergian as her sister, couldn't help but take a few more glances at her. Demonic transformation description, temporarily increases one's actual combat power by 1 level, but consumes a large amount of magic power. Identification. Bai Luo threw an appraisal at the Ergian in this state without hesitation. Evil Spirit Hazard Assessment, Special A, Disaster Level, Disaster Level. Bai Luo didn't expect that Ergui's transformation into a demon would have such a big improvement. Kuro has advanced to an A rank upper demon. Although her magic energy is still A rank, her actual combat power is so strong that even a veteran A and warrior may not be able to defeat her. Coupled with this ability to transform into a demon, Ergian was able to obtain a special A rating. Yan, how long can you maintain this state? Ergui thought for a moment and said obediently, about 5 minutes. In other words, when Ergian bursts out at full strength, it can maintain its special A combat power for 5 minutes. Okay, change back. Pengpen's body shrank rapidly, and in the blink of an eye she returned to her skinny little lowly form. Rong has become stronger. Bai Luo, have you gained strength from him? Haha. Of course. Bai Luo touched the little guy's head and said with a smile, Yan provided me with a full 6,000 existence value. Now I am also B-level. A leader's unique skill that allows Bai Luo to gain about half the existence value of his followers. The existence value of is 12,000, so the value given to Bai Luo is 6,000. In addition, Bai Luo himself has also made certain breakthroughs. His original basic existence value was only 500 points. But because of this battle, Bai Luo also gained merit, that is, recognition from the world's voice. Although it's not much, it at least makes Bai Luo out of the category of weakling. To describe it numerically, it roughly increased from a 500 existence value to 1,500. Among monsters, this is already equivalent to D level. So, Bai Luo's current magic power is 7,500, right? Hearing this, Ergui Yan immediately perked up. Yan will continue to work hard to make Bai Luo evolve as soon as possible. Yes, Bai Luo can also evolve. As a hybrid of demons and humans, let's not talk about human ancestry for now. The blood of the demons gave Bai Luo the ability to evolve like a demon. However, Bai Luo is not yet clear about what his demon bloodline is. In addition, there is another happy event. That is, as Bai Luo broke through from C level to B level, the number of his dependents increased from the original 1/3 to the current 1/6. Every time I advance in rank, I can get 3 new follower slots. Bai Luo originally thought that the upper limit of the number of dependents could not be changed, but he did not expect that it would continue to increase as his strength improved. In this case, there is no need to be too frugal with dependents quotas. Where's Bo? Suddenly, Ergian, who was sticking close to Bai Luo, seemed to sense something. She turned her head and looked in a certain direction, but didn't see anything suspicious, which made Ergian quite puzzled. What's wrong? Bai Luo noticed Ergui's actions and asked curiously. Sight. Ergui said, just now, it seemed like someone was spying on us, but Ergui couldn't find the person. This is the second time. The last time was when the master cast the explosion magic. Spying on us. Bai Luo naturally wouldn't think that this was Ergui's overreaction. It is true that Yuruko is a monster now, but she still retains the abilities of a Pokemon and her ability to sense external dangers still exists. Someone is watching from the dark, who could it be? Bai Luo thought of many possibilities, such as Clayman among the 10 demon kings. The appearance of this insect monster was extremely abrupt, unlike what it should have been in the original book. Otherwise, with that wave just now, even if Hung Guan could escape, the remaining big ghost tribe would definitely suffer heavy losses. In addition to Clement, there are also the guardians of the Jura Forest, the tree elves. Bai Luo couldn't decide which side it was. Tree elves are fine, I don't have any fundamental conflict with them. Bai Luo uses explosive magic to cause destruction, aiming to completely eliminate the insect monsters that harm the forest ecology. The tree elf would not bear any ill will towards him because of such a thing. But if it's Clement? Clayman's strength does make him look like a clown in the original book. But he is a demon king after all, Bai Luo will not really look down on him. According to the novel, Clayman's existence value in a semi-awakened state is about 700,000. But he is definitely not that strong now. At best, he is worth 300,000 to 400,000. Such power is indeed an irresistible enemy for Bai Luo and Ergi Long today. We can only hope that in the next few worlds, I can become stronger quickly. Clayman is not an awakened demon king, he is just a demon king species. And the growth skill of can continue to grow even after reaching the demon king level. Using the Jura Great Forest as nutrients, combined with abilities from other worlds. As long as Bai Luo and Ergilong are given time, it will be quite easy to surpass Clement. And now, Bai Luo cast his gaze towards Hong Wan and the others who were rushing over here, and the corners of his mouth could not help but curl up slightly. This is the time when I need you to contribute your strength. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.